Hello everyone, if you can hear me, please say fossil, fossil. And then that way I will know if you can hear me. Fossil dragon, yes. Okay. People are in the chat and they can hear me, that's good. Alright, so today is like, let's see, day 7? I think this is day 7 of these streams. This is the Final Fantasy IV translation comparison. We're doing the Super NES and then translation versus 2 fan translations. And we're comparing them to the original Japanese and all kinds of other stuff's going on. All right, let's see. Before we begin today, I did get some questions from the chat, and I went through the chat yesterday, and I pulled them out, and so we can talk about them right now. So the first question comes with Rosa. Rosa is called a Shiro Madōshi in Japanese. And so the question was, is that the same as what the White Wizards in Final Fantasy I are called? And so I looked it up, and they're a little bit different. If you remember when we did the Final Fantasy VI translation comparison, like on day 1, we were talking all about magic, the different words for magic, the different words for like wizards and sorcerers. That all comes into play here too. But basically, in Final Fantasy I, they're actually called Shiro Majutsushi. And it's a little bit different. Basically the same, but just a teeny bit different. And I've put some text up here. So in FF1 Majutsushi, the connotation, if you like dig deep into it, is like a wielder of the magic arts. Like a master of the magic arts maybe. And then Madōshi, which is like the more common modern, like I think maybe after 1 it became Madōshi commonly. I'm not sure at one point, but Madōshi is kind of like the standard Final Fantasy term these days. Probably for the last 30 years. Anyway, Madōshi is kind of it gives the idea of like an expert in the way / path of magic. And so the idea is that Majutsushi is more like someone who can just use magic. And like, I don't really know how to translate it really well, but and then Madōshi suggests that there's like a path of learning involved, and then like new things can be contrived from that. So in English we have words like sorcerer, wizard, mage, magician, conjurer, that kind of stuff. We have all these different words too, and they all have their own connotations. And everybody will use them differently too in English and in Japanese. So it's hard to say this should be this should be that. But they are indeed different. Also, I looked in the GBA version of FF1 for the Japanese version, and it was still Majutsushi there. So I guess they were keeping to the original. All right. If anyone in the chat or on the YouTube would like to talk more about the Majutsu and Mado differences, that would be pretty fun. Also, you might know the word Maho. That's like the standard word for magic. Maho, magic or spell. You're going to hear Maho all the time. All right. And I point out here that the shi on Majutsushi and Madōshi, they're different kanji, but the shi like very roughly parallels with the English like shin, like CIAN suffix, or sometimes it's EIAN suffix, such as in technician and magician. All right, so there's that. Yesterday I did use the spare time because we didn't stream yesterday. I used that time to update the Legends of Localization site. So if you go on the front page, there's a new page about this whole thing. I just wanted to get it out there because I think most of my followers on the site never knew I was doing this stuff. So now it's there. Hopefully people will know. I've also adjusted my audio again, and I hope it is okay. Let me know. Oh shoot, there's an evolved class for Majutsushi. I'll have to look that up. All right. Jutsushi level. Honestly, it might go to Madōshi for. I'll look that up. I don't want to do that yet because I'll have to do a little more work. Okay. So the next question I got, what was this one? Oh yeah. Yesterday we fought, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, we fought some monsters that are like spooky looking Medusa looking things, like their bottom halves are like ghostly, but their top halves look like these scary feminine hair monsters. That's the worst description ever. Anyway, so in Japanese they were called Leshy, and we were wondering like what could that be? Like we see J2E went with Lacey, Naming Way went with Leshy, Super NES went with Weeper, and people were asking, so what should it be? From everything that I can tell, it just seems to be pulling from the Leshy idea from like Slavic folklore. Although those seem to be more like plant related in some way, but they're still like some kind of like dark spirit that you don't really want to mess with idea. The Japanese guides, one of the Japanese guides that gives you like all the background information about a lot of things, explains what these are, and basically they were meant to be like ghostly creatures in Final Fantasy. They're described as like ghostly creatures, and they suck the energy out of others so they can survive, and then when they run out of energy, they'll dive into a new host and then just like take over there. I don't remember at the top of my head, but that's the deal with that. Well, yeah, we also saw that these Leshy enemies, they have a different name in Easy Type, and we saw that they are called Lady Plum, and that got me thinking that since there are palette swaps of these enemies later, that there's probably going to be like a naming scheme that this is probably going to have. So I looked it up. Later ones of these are going to be called Lady Peach and Lady Cherry. Also, there was some uncertainty that maybe these are like Leshy might come from the word wraith, but then that would make it like wraithy. So I don't know about that one, but that's a thing I read. All right, I think that's it for that. So we can probably just begin the game now. Oh, what's going on? Okay. Today we're gonna go through Mount Hobs. We're going to meet Yang. We're gonna fight the mother bomb, the mom bomb. Then we're gonna head through over all the way to Fabul. And then when we do that, we're gonna do like the first half of the Fabul stuff, maybe, because that whole section is gonna be so long. There's so much text in that. It'll probably take us an hour or two just to get through some of that. And then probably tomorrow what we'll do is the final half of the Fabul battle stuff, where we have to do the fight everyone off. Then we have to go to the throne room and then the crystal room, and then we meet Golbez and Kane and all that talking there, and then all the talking after that. It's a lot of talking, as you might, if you know the game, you know what I mean. All right, let's begin. All right, as of right now, the leaderboards, we started off from 100 points and we marked points down mostly. The Super NES translation is at negative 74 from 100. J2E is at negative 2, down from 100, and Naming Way is negative 72, down from 100. So right now, just from the sheer cuts that were made in Super NES and Naming Way, J2E is coming out on top. But that doesn't really mean that the translation quality is especially great, but so far it has been improved, it seems. But yesterday, or 2 days ago, we saw how scenes can just get entirely destroyed in different patches, so it's hard to know where these scores are going to go. Yo, hello everyone. Alright. Unfortunately, because I'm looking at like 100 translations at once and playing a game and talking and doing all these things, it's harder for me to keep up with the chat. So if you have a really important question you want me to get to, type BBQ in front of it or somewhere in it, and then if I don't notice it now, which I probably won't, I'll check later and then I'll answer your question the next time around. Alright, so you can see like how we have all these different items and things, and we can check through all these. Alright, while we're here, I gotta do it. And someday it's gonna happen, and then the game will be over. Alright, so we're gonna go into Mount Hobs now. Okay, this is yeah, I think I already talked about this. This is Mount Hobs West exit. And then it just says Mount Hobs West, Mount Hobs West, Mount Hobs West everywhere. But J2E has something. What's different here? Oh, they just put the dash in there. Okay. So it's like West exit, West something, West entrance. It's both of them. Nishiguchi, West entrance. Alright, let's go. All right, so earlier we couldn't go through this ice that's blocking the way. Rosa walks up to the ice now, turns around and says in Japanese, Rydia, fire o tonaete mite. So Rydia, try casting a spell of fire. And Rydia just responds with ... which is her hesitation. Like, she's hung up on the idea of fire. It's been like a trauma point for her. All right, so how did this all go in the other ones? Cast the spell of fire, Rydia. I would have liked this meat day at the end. Gives it a little softerness. Softerness, that's not even a word. But this feels kind of direct. I would have liked something softer there. Okay, Rydia, try to cast fire. Try casting fire would have been good. But no big deal. All right, we got some formatting changes in J2E. And then cast fire, Rydia. It's like the smallest you can probably trim everything down in naming way. I kind of want to try to do that. It was always something I wanted to try, was like a patch of this game where you trim everything down to the bare bones as possible. And I just want to see what that would look like. And we kind of feel it here. All right, try to cast fire. And then ... So everyone got those ... I think everyone understands what the importance of those is here. Okay, Rydia turns to us and is looking sad. Gilbert says, Rydia. And then Rosa says, Anata na kanarazu dekiru wa. Basically, like, if anyone can do it, it's definitely you. I know you can do it for sure. Like, she has kanarazu, which is like no doubt, without fail. So she's very certain. And then we got the feminine particle here, the emphasis particle. And of course that gets removed. All right, so this became, in Super NES, Rydia ... The question mark here would have been better because he's a little uncertain. Like, what's going on? And then Rosa says, you can do it, Rydia. This Nara would have been nice to include in there, and Kanarazu is not in there either. Like, you definitely can do it, or like, I know if anyone can do it, it's you, Rydia. We can see in J2E it goes with Rydia, question mark, and then Rosa says, you can do this. Yeah, so she's like there's an emphasis on what she's saying in Japanese, and the J2E has conveyed that with this. That's pretty good. I don't know what changed in the patch though. My programming is confusing me. All right, naming way, Rydia ... instead of the question mark. You can do it. Yeah, it's saying you, if anyone, or like you, like you're pointing at something, like with your thoughts, you're pointing at them, that Nara. All right, but I won't mark points off on this. All right, Rydia goes ... yeah, period. And that means like she's saying no in a way. But yeah also means like something that's disagreeable to you. If you don't like something, you can just say yeah, or you can also say yeah to mean no. It kind of covers both. This is flat out ... no in Super NES, ... no in J2E, ... no in naming way. Okay, all good. Rosa question mark. Got the question mark in Super NES, J2E. It's missing in naming way, and it looks like when they took that out, they just stuck Rydia's following line to her previous line. So naming way is going to lose a point. All right. So Rosa's, this is showing her Rosa's confusion. Like why is she acting this way? All right. So Rydia responds in Hono, and flames. I hate flames. I hate fire. Like, they are not something I like. All right. So she says, I hate fire in Super NES. I hate fire in J2E. I hate fire in anime. All good. Everything is there. All right. Now Cecil is saying, Soka ... Ano bomu no yubi wa hono de misto wa ... Blah. I gotta get my Japanese tongue ready. So that's basically saying, oh, is that it? Or I see ... The flames of that bomb ring caused mist to ... is what he's saying here. And remember, every time he basically talks about Mist, he turns into this like kind of hesitant, sadder. I don't know a good word off the top of my head. So this became in Super NES. She's afraid of fire because her village was destroyed in a fire. This first line, Soka, is where he's coming to the realization, like he's figured it out, like, oh, she can't do fire because of this. Here he's just like kind of stating offhand to like Rosa, like, oh yeah, don't say that stuff. She's afraid of it. That's the kind of vibe you can possibly read, the ambiguity. All right, but yeah, so there's a line missing. I'll take that off of Super NES. J2E says, I see ... because of that bomb rings inferno. Mist was ... Okay, that's all good in there. Cecil says in naming way, it's because Mist was destroyed by fire when ... Again, I would have liked that Soka in there too. I mean, if the fans can do it. Whoa, this looks like this changed a lot in J2E, so. Oh, not too much. Cecil says, I see because of fire, Mist burned down. Yeah, that would have been wrong because it would miss the part about the bomb ring. That detail. Alright, so now Rosa looks sad, walks up to Rydia, and now she's gonna try to cheer her up. So Rosa says, Ii, Rydia, kono kori o tokasu chikara ga aru no wa ima, anata shika inai no. This E is kind of there's like a pleasant feeling to it. And she's saying like, so listen, Rydia, or you here, listen here, Rydia, or something like that. The only one who has the power to melt this ice at this moment is you. Period. Alright. That became in Super NES, listen, Rydia, you're the only one who can melt this ice, period. Then J2E, this became what? Question mark? Listen, Rydia, you're the only one here with the power to melt this ice. And that might have changed, so let's see. Looks like they added the what. That what is not in there. I'm gonna take that off. Yeah, what? Listen, Rydia, that almost seems like a little harsher than I would have gone. That flow from what to listen, Rydia. Okay, listen, Rydia, that became only you can melt this ice. I would have liked that to, it got really truncated, but it looks like it was trying to say like you're the only one who has the power to melt it, but the fact that she's the only one who has the power is kind of important. But it's okay, I'm gonna be okay with that. Okay, Rydia responds with ... after that. Super NES, she does the same. She does it in J2E. But she doesn't do it in naming way. So I'm gonna take that off. This is a big part of Rydia's growing up now scene. Like this is like she grows up a lot in this game. This is kind of the first start to see it. Maybe second start to see it because she starts to trust Cecil at some point earlier. So it's important to have all these little details, especially coming out of her. Okay, so let's continue. Rosa continues, Watashi tachi ga koko de kori o tokashi, Fabul he ikanakereba motto takusan no hito tachi ga osoroshii mei ni au koto ni naru no ... So it's a lot of text here, but it's basically saying that unless we melt this ice here and go to Fabul, then even more people are going to encounter even worse fates, like terrible fates. Like other people are going to have terrible fates too. And then there's a ... in there. Alright, so Super NES. If we can't get through here to Fabul, more people will be in danger. The feeling I get from this is osoroshii mei ni au koto is a little different than just be in danger. I mean, it does imply that, but it's just more like it's stronger in Japanese, like terrible things will happen to other people. Not just danger. I won't mark anything off. Alright. The part about like melting this ice right here is missing. But I don't fault them for this. Alright, J2E. If we can't get past this ice to Fabul, many more people will be in danger, ... Again, I would have liked danger to be a little different. Okay, nothing different, really, in J2E. Alright, naming way. Only you can melt this ice. If we can't get to Fabul, more people will die. Alright, Alright, so there is no technically mention of death in here. Just like terrible fate will befall them. Like terrible things will happen. Maybe this will Soroshime. Yeah, dreadful things. I mean, it's not just die. There's other things that have happened, like, you know, losing your family, but not dying. So I'm going to take off a point on that. It's one of those loopholes that gets added in when you put something specific like that. Alright, also the ... is missing in there. That's not a big deal. Alright, so she goes, Rosa continues saying, Onegai ... yuki o dashite. So please, bring forth your courage, kind of, is how that literally would go, but please, be brave. How did this go? Alright. Alright, so that last line, that line I just said, is missing from the Super NES translation. Alright, please try to be brave. In J2E, that's correct. Naming way, please be brave. Alright, that's in there. And this is kind of important because we just had a scene where Edward was being told to be brave, and like bravery is right on his mind still. And so the mention of the word bravery or courage causes him to now, Gilbert to now say, Yuki ... like he's saying bravery ... courage ... So he's also coming to terms with his situation as he watches on. Again, that is missing. Edward has a line in here, but it just says please ... and that's not what's happening. So Super NES will take off a point. J2E, the logical connection between those lines is intact. Why Gilbert saying brave ... That's good. Edward also does it in naming way. Brave ... Okay. Yeah, we're naming way and Super NES are now like changing the lead, or not the lead, I guess. What's the opposite of the lead? Alright, so Rydia, Rosa now says, Rydia, Lydia, onegai. And then Gilbert says, Tanomu yo, Lydia. And so that's Rosa saying, Rydia, please. And Gilbert says, please, Rydia, or like, we're counting on you, Rydia. Or we beg of you, Rydia. So now this is where the please Rydia stuff is coming from. So it looks like I was right to take off some points before. But because they do this, it makes it confusing for me to keep up with my points. Alright, so the Rydia please, come on Rydia, is what it says in J2E. And that's okay. Rosa says in naming way, Rydia, please. And then Edward says, please Rydia. I would have put a comma there because otherwise it comes off differently. It brings in a new ambiguity. If you're reading fast, or if someone might possibly misunderstand, you don't want to do that as a translator. You want to be clear if you can. Alright. Cecil now goes ... after all of them. He does it in Super NES, he does it in J2E, and he does it in naming way. Okay. Then Rydia now says ... Okay, we got that in Super NES, J2E, and naming way. And okay, it looks like there's going to be... Okay, so that Rydia had the ... Then I press the button, a new window pops up, ... Then another one happens again, ... So she's really hesitating here. Or like something's going on inside of her mind right now. Those three ... that are on separate lines become two in Super NES. I will mark off because that's kind of weird. The 3 dots exist in J2E. Naming way, all of that is missing. I'll mark that off. I really feel that hesitation is best when there's the 2 windows at the very least, so I'll drop 2 points on naming way here. Oh, we're tied again. J2E is tied with Super NES. Alright, so Rydia steps forward and shouts, "Fire!" Exclamation. We see in Super NES they put a ... there, and I don't know. J2E, 2 exclamations for on fire. Naming way is just fire. So she's saying the spell name here. Alright, good. Now she casts her spell. Everything turns red. A fire melts the ice. The path is open. Okay, I gotta pause it. I have to pause it whenever it does something like that because the text will go away automatically. Alright, so Rydia learned fire. And we can see that became Fire 1 in Super NES. Became, what is this in J2E? Rydia learned fire everywhere, but... Alright. Alright. So now the party members all gather around Rydia. And they're excited, and Gilbert says, "Sugoi yo, Rydia! That's amazing, Rydia," or "You're amazing," or "You're..." Just showing he's really impressed. Rydia then responds, "Eh, dot dot dot." That eh is kind of like, I can almost see it and hear it. I can hear it in real life, people saying it, and then I can hear it in anime also. It's just like that little cheerful, little shy laughter there. Eh. She did something good, and she got praised for it. That became dot 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 in Super NES. So her like little bit of cheer has returned. We've learned from this teeny laugh. The Super NES, you have no idea. So I'm gonna take off a point. Oh yeah, Edward said great, Rydia dot 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 dot. That was Super NES. J2E, that's incredible, Rydia. And then Rydia goes, heh, dot dot dot. But the heh here would be better if it was like uppercase H there, I guess. It doesn't matter. Naming way has Edward say wonderful, and then Rydia says yay. Sugoi yo, Rydia is like, way to go, Rydia. You're awesome, Rydia. Like he's specifically praising her, and I kind of like that he's praising her here. Yay, I'll leave it because it like shows that like she's cheered up. Then Rosa says, "Arigato, Rydia." Thank you, Rydia. Naming way looks like it. Everyone says thank you, Rydia properly. It looks like Naming way likes to remove commas for space purposes maybe. And then Cecil also says Rydia dot dot dot. That Rydia dot 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 exists in Super NES and J2E, but does not exist in Naming way. So we'll remove 1 point for Naming way. Looks like J2E had Rydia say, "I did it," dot 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 at first instead of heh. Heh was better. It was good. It was a good call. All right, now the party has reassembled and we are free to continue gameplay. Well, yeah, you can. People are talking in the chat right now that you can, like, you can rearrange your magic in this game. I tend to do that sometimes. Anything interesting there? No. Is she getting any spells? Well, yeah. So I usually do this. I'll put like the fire there, the blizzard there, and the thunder there, and then I'll put like the lower, like the higher ones underneath. I like to. At that point, it's still too early to do any more than that. I like to organize my spells. Alright, let's go. We're walking around Mount Hobs, west area. There's gonna be like a lot of skeleton monsters and things. Alright, we have a skeleton monster. This is like a gold or yellow looking skeleton. It has armor, like gold armor. It's just called Skeruton in Japanese, which is like the English word skeleton. Oh, it's interesting they didn't change that for easy type to like Gaikotsu or something, to the Japanese word. Alright, so Super NES calls these skeletons, they become skeleton. They took out that second E is missing because of text limitations, I guess. Skeleton everywhere else. Alright. We're gonna fight these skeletons. I think Cecil's attacks do okay on these guys. Now we're gonna do fire on these guys, because we just got fire. Ooh, that was a fast spell. Wait a minute, fire is... Oh yeah, an easy type fire became fire 1 also. Okay, and then J2E didn't have the little dot next to it originally. Alright. We'll do a prayer. Yeah, I got potions. I got all these potions I can just give to these skeletons, like they're trick-or-treating. Just give them some potions, and when they go home to eat the candy, they'll have a surprise. Yeah, the easy type doesn't have the cute Faiga stuff. It does the 1, 2, 3 system as well. We covered that on day 1, I think, back in the White Mage laboratory in Baron Castle. We were in there for a long time. Alright, battle complete. Let's continue. I really like this song. Oh, the interesting thing is when you come into this, so we're going from this area, we're going through a doorway to another area. And the perspective changes, and also there's no like location text box up above, which is a weird thing for this game. Both of those things are kind of weird. Alright, here's the save spot. I'll just save over here while I'm here. Now we're 15 hours and 51 minutes into this game. I'm thinking we'll hit 99 hours. Alright, we got a tent. And I think some of these items are different in different versions. But in the vanilla 4, it is, that's what we're playing, so this is the main one. Okay, we got a potion. These aren't very good items. Give me some good items. Alright, in this one we have a gold needle. And in this one we have 960 gil. Alright. Okay, nothing. I thought there was better items here. That's too bad. I'm kind of worried, like, what if I rush too fast through this and then we get too far into Fabul? I don't want to do all of that stuff in one day. That'll be rough. Alright, so we're fighting some of those skeletons, but also behind the skeletons are some spirit-looking monsters. They're literally called spirito in Japanese, which is the English word spirit. Spirito. And the easy type calls them adashibi. Like, I get the feeling that it's like a I don't know how to call it, like a grudge fire, maybe, is how they try to make this work in the easy type Japanese. I'll look into. Let me look into that. Adashibi. All right, we're learning lots of stuff. This is the Final Fantasy IV university course. Now we're gonna just get your textbooks ready. All right, these guys kind of suck if I do fire on those spirits. Well, yeah, apparently, I don't think it's really brought up heavily in this game in any form, but I think Rosa is supposedly a really, really good archer, and in addition to being a magic, like really good at magic, so it makes sense that she's a threat. Like, I don't know if she worked for the Baron army or anything. Something about her skill with the bow is like really supposed to be really good, according to side sources, I guess. She's the Celis of FF4. Yeah, I'm just kind of taking my time on this fight as I chat with the chat, but I'll get back to business here. In the original game, I think she has aim, right? What did they call it? Was it aim? Alright, here we go. Gilbert has leveled up. He's now better at playing music, maybe. I don't know. Got some potions. We got all these like free potions from cheating the system. We cheated the financial system of Final Fantasy IV to acquire much money. Alright, we got some more enemies, so we got surprise attacked. Wait till I can select the monsters. Alright. So first we have 2 bird enemies, and behind them is like this weird gargoyle enemy. The bird enemies are called cockatrice. Koka torisu in Japanese, and then because the word is so long, the different versions of translations have to like compensate and take out letters. You got cocktrick and SNES, cockatrice in full and J2E, and cocktrice in naming way. Then we have gargoyle, gargoyle in Japanese. It's just the English word for gargoyle. It fits properly, it looks like, in all the versions, so that's cool. It's one of the rare times they all line up. I'll give it a, there we go. So let's do, we're gonna kill these cockatrice monsters. They can turn you into stone. Maybe the gargoyles too can, I'm not sure. Alright, so we have confused one of them. I like, in this game, confusion. It causes them to like get more heavy duty attacks. So I want to see it. Yeah, it's doing beak. Oh, you can see this was kuchibashi in Japanese. This beak attack, a beak or a bill of like a duck or a bird, kuchibashi. And that spell or that attack causes this stone spell to happen. So we got a 1-hit kill. I think it killed itself just now. That became beak, Super NES, beak in J2E, and rock beak in naming way. I don't know why they added the word rock in there, but since it's like a backport from later games, maybe that's just the case of what's going on. Alright, oops. Now to do the fight. Uh-oh, we got tornadoed. Oh no. Oh, that's an actual tornado. Alright, I got a beat. So I'm having Rosa shoot the bird now. It should do pretty well. Nope. Alright, now we'll kill this other guy. I would like to remember what these guys are weak against, but I don't remember. Maybe Rosa has a spell for it. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, it died. We'll learn later. Cecil has leveled up. And we have a gold needle, which makes sense because that heals the stone status, and they were trying to stone us. I used a high potion just now and I feel dirty. I shouldn't have had to use that. I was being dumb. Alright, now we're back out here. We're going into another doorway that will take us into the outside of the mountains. Like, it's not like in 6 where you go into these little things and then there's like a cave and then you go through that cave and then you come out the other side. It's just automatically you come out the other side. Alright, we're on the Sancho now. In Japanese, that's like the mountain peak. The San is mountain, Cho is like the peak of something. All called summit. That's fine. There's a treasure chest over here. We got a surprise attack by some spirits here. They're gonna do fire on us. Cecil is gonna be well done, because he's attacked twice by fire. But his armor has helped. I'm gonna try my Ankoku on these guys and see how that does. I feel like it could work. Like, I feel like it's a physical attack technically. Yeah, see, I don't know what to do about these guys. I never really know how to fight these guys well. They're already like very magical. Just bash at them, I guess. Oh, I charmed one of them, but now I'm about to kill it anyway. Alright, I'm gonna have Rydia heal Cecil. It's a sign that she is willing to forgive him. Oh yeah, holy arrows, I gotta do that. That's what I thought I had holy arrows on. I gotta put those on. my gosh, Edward. Rosa has gained a level. She learned a spell called Neizu in Japanese, and Neizu is like comes from the word raise probably, and it brings like fallen party members back to life. In the Super NES, that became Life 1. It became just Life in J2E, and it became Raise in Naming Way. We'll look at this again in a second. I can't do this, so sometimes you'll see the book in battle like this, and this text box is up here. This is actually just talking about the formatting of the line and not the item name. The item name goes in there. So we'll have to look at that later. Same here. Looks like they added the word was learned in J2E. All right. Like the very first time I ever did a thing like this with the Japanese text on the side as I play it in a different language. I did that with Breath of Fire 2 almost 10 years ago, like 9.5 years ago. I've been doing this a long time, but I feel like I have a lot more to improve. But the good thing, there's a lot more games out there. Alright, I'm just healing everyone with my potions. I got so many good potions. Alright, there's a treasure chest. And in here are some, we've looked at this before. These are the holy arrows. And I mentioned before that in J2E, there's a spare S over here. It's like a typo bug in that patch. So it looks like it's about to say holy, and then a swear word maybe. Alright, let me put holy arrows on Rosa. They're actually stronger too. So, wait, here we go. Say Naruya. I have 30 of them. Yeah, they're stronger, and they're gonna have the holy elemental on them. Alright, let's look at that spell we just got. Leizu. Okay, and then the easy type, that became Leizu Ichi, or 1. So it's like raise 1. Because later there's going to be like a higher level raise spell, which like does full health or high health restored also when you do it. So in J2E, there was life spell now, but it used to be called raise, so it's like a backward step. I wonder why they changed it, because J2E was all about, we're doing it the way that it should have been. We're doing it the way Nintendo doesn't. They did a terrible job. We got to do it right, and then they change it anyway. But that's just how the world is, so I won't say anything more. Alright, here's every time I'm in a fight now. Oh good, some new enemies. Alright, we're fighting some weird circular monsters, like globular monsters. This first one, the red one, is called a Bomu. Bomu is just the English word bomb. And the ring that we took to Misc a while back was probably themed on these guys, because these guys pop out of the ring somehow. Don't watch the ring, by the way. You'll die in 7 days. So bomb became bomb everywhere. It's important to note that there's a Japanese word for bomb if they wanted to use that. So by using Bomu, that gives it a little bit of just a teeny bit of an exoticness to it, like a little bit different than just straight up just saying bomb. So when you translate it out into those languages and into English, it loses that exoticness a little bit. It's pretty minor and not that important. And also these enemies are now very, very iconic, so changing them to anything else now would be crazy. It's one of those legacy things. Right, so that's one of the common enemies in all Final Fantasy games. Is Bomu in Japanese. But we're joined by another type of Bomu. Let's look at it. Alright, there's another Bomu. These ones are gray or bluish. I'm not sure what to call that. But these ones in Japanese are called Peini Bomu. Peini. I don't know what Peini is supposed to be, but from everything I can tell, the Japanese fans, they seem to believe that it is just like the English word pain, and then as an adjective, there's E in there, so Peini bomb. I guess they cause pain. I'm not really sure, and I'm not 100% convinced that Peini Bomu is Peini. Anyway, for easy type, Peini Bomu became Gureito Bomu, so great bomb. It's immediately clear that it's superior to the other kind. So it's easy type. In Super NES, it became Gray Bomb. And J2E is Pain Bomb. And the naming way is Grey Bomb. What should it be? I don't know. We'll find out in about 100 years. As I recall, let me see if this works. It might be a bad idea to do this, so I'm going to do a save state. Just in case. Alright, here we go. I'm going to try to do a Thunder spell on one. See if it works. Nope, not that guy. Okay. Some of these bombs, I think they're later in the game, but if you do a spell on them, it'll just cause a chain reaction that causes them to explode. Yeah, well, also the thing that bombs do in these games is that they'll self-destruct if you hurt them or if like, you just sit around for a while. In Japanese, this technique is called jibaku. That's like self-destruct. Ji is self and baku is explosion. Explosive. So jibaku, self-destruct. That became explode in Super NES, destruct in J2E, and explode in naming way. We're having some troubles here because we're having some explosions. I'm gonna have Edward do his potion now, and Rosa is doing prayer. Alright, I'm gonna do fire on this last one. Oh my gosh. Alright, well, the bomb is just gonna blow up. And, oh, okay, not too bad. Everyone has survived the bombs. At least we get their experience when they blow up, right? But yeah, bombs are another summon item you can get, possibly. They're kind of rare drops, right? And I don't remember who drops them. But I think you can summon bombs of your own if you grind enough or get lucky. Right over here is a spot I always point out. I noticed this the very first time I played the game, is you can't walk on this tile to the left of me. It's like there's just something there. What is there? What is here? Why did they put something there? Anyone know? Like, why would you put a block there that's invisible that you can't walk through? It's a mystery. Well, ask Miyamoto someday. Okay, so as we're climbing the mountain, we see a little bit higher up that there seems to be some battle happening. Cecil pauses and says, Arewa? And basically that means, what's that? Just a question mark. And what's that, what's that, what's that? In all translations, naming way also adds an exclamation. We walk forward and we discover that there's like a martial artist surrounded by monsters with one big monster waiting in the back. Looks like a bomb. Alright, so Gilbert says, Ano ifuku wa Fabulu no Monkku Sō. Oh yeah, I get to talk about this stuff now. So that clothing, ifuku, those clothes, that's kind of a fancy word for it. Ano ifuku wa, those clothes are those of Fabul's warrior monks, I guess we would translate this as. In Japanese, or like in Asia, I don't know how to explain it. And I guess in America, and maybe like just the West in general, when you think of the word monk, you probably think of like more of the Christianity type of monk. I think of kind of maybe the ones where they're just got a little bit of a bald spot on the top of their head and got kind of short hair, short cropped hair all around. They have like a robe on, and they probably just like are carrying a book or something. But in Japanese, monku, especially monku so, is more of like a warrior monk that you might expect from like kung fu-y things, or not kung fu, but just like warriors who also have like they go to their retreats and do their meditations and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how to explain it off the top of my head, but here's a quick look. Were the Fabul's monks, warrior monks? They're kind of patterned after the Shaolin monks as they appear in media a lot, and I'm showing them on the screen right now. And they have those like little dots on their heads. That's part of it, I guess. Yeah. So whenever you see the word monk in like Final Fantasy games, or maybe just I don't know, just Japanese entertainment in general. It's not really like the kind of that we think of in the West. It's more closer to this kind of just in general. Maybe just like someone who sleeps at a temple and trains to fight, but also tries to follow various religious teachings. All right, so that's monks. All right, let me make this bigger again. The European monk hairstyle is called the tonsure. I've learned a new English word. Thank you. Tonsure. I'll have to remember that. All right. Uh-oh. I just messed up. I missed an important line there. Okay, so the important thing, we'll get to in a second, is that the monk warrior thing, because we don't really have that in Western culture, and because this is kind of like this was in the early 90s, aimed kind of more at the younger side. So what do kids from the time know? What martial arts do they know? And basically, at the time, karate was everything. If it's a martial art, it equals equal signs karate. Karate equals martial arts. Maybe kung fu also, but that's kind of like the only two that anyone ever knew back in those days. So it calls it the word karate is used all the time in the Super NES translation. Let's see. All right, so I didn't see how that karate stuff was handled in the other translations, but we're going to see so many more karates in a second that it won't matter too much. So the monkuso now shouts "ha!" exclamation, and that's basically like he's doing a move. He's going "ha!" He's doing his martial arts. In Super NES, this became Karate Man, and he goes "achoo!" Like it makes it look like he's sneezing, and literally that's what I thought back in the day. I thought he was sneezing, and as we discover, like all of these fighters from Fabul, all these martial artists, they all shout "achoo" as they do their things. And at the time, I didn't really understand a lot about all of this, so I just assumed this was a really unique thing that these karate people were doing. They just say "achoo" as they do their stuff. Then I learned Japanese, and then I realized that's just "acho, acho, acho," which is like our generic word for just doing like a karate move, any kind of martial arts move. We go "hiya" usually in English. So first, that became Karate Man "acho." So because this was so weird, I'm gonna take off for Karate Man and for the "acho." And remember, originally it was just "ha." So where did "acho" come from? And the reason for that is, like I mentioned, "acho" is a very generic martial arts fighting sound in Japanese. It's very commonly heard in martial arts movies, and that's how that came about. In fact, I even have a sound effect, so please listen. What you're about to hear is Bruce Lee doing some achos, and see if you can hear the acho, acho, acho. In English, we always do "hiya, hiya, hiya," but listen for the acho. It's about 20 seconds long. Listen close. So there it is. That's the acho. And that's kind of where it came from. I bet it came from Bruce Lee movies. So there's that. Yeah, in English we tend to use "hiya" as our sound, and that's why we see the naming when go with "hiya." J2E sticks close to the original and goes "ha," and there's two A's in there to make it clear he's not laughing. So there's a lot of weird things culturally going on in here. I'm okay with the J2E going "ha." Monk is fine. Monk going "hiya," that's good too. So only the Super NES got messed up here. Also, this brings up another issue. We're going to run into a lot of the achos when there was no achos to begin with, even. The fact there's even an acho suggests or indicates that a native Japanese speaker worked on this part and put "ha" instead of acho, put acho instead of "ha." So every time this happens, what should I do? Should I mark it off every time? I'm not really sure. We'll play a little bit more and we'll see how it goes, but I feel like I might change it every time. I do like the idea of them going achu achu, but that's just an ambiguity that was introduced by an altered translation. You don't really want to do that too often, or else you'll cause mistakes like this. All right, let's continue this battle. I gotta make this bigger. Yeah, sometimes when you listen, like this was a problem I had when I would do my professional work, especially when I would do like DVD extras. Um, like when I would do my animes or my movies, I would either have scripts or I would have like professionally recorded sound audio to listen to, and so things were okay there. But when it came to DVD extras, then people will mumble and stumble on their words, and like sound effects will cover things. You sit there and you try to listen to the phrase over and over, and you start to hear things. Like you hear it one way, but you can make your brain hear it another way too. Your brain starts to hallucinate audio if you get too crazy with that stuff. Okay, and so that's why people in the chat were saying haya and nacho. They can hear it either way, depending on which way they hear it, they listen to it. See if that happens with you. Let me know in the comments. Do you hear acho? Do you hear haya? Let me know. Let's continue. Oh, I have to press a button. All right, the karate martial arts guy. He's stomping in the competition. He looks tough, but now he's outnumbered 3-1. But the monk doesn't care. He repeats his phrase, ha! It's because it's just the same line. I'm not going to take off on this. Like literally, I think it might be the same data it's pulling. So I'm not going to take off points on this, but the acho I might have taken off. Alright, now we're going into an auto battle with a character here. It is the karate guy, the martial arts guy, and he's fighting two domo boys, which we encountered earlier. They were also called imp captains. Let's see. So I wanted to bring up something else here. As we can see, this guy's name is Yan. Well, if you can't read that in Japanese, his name is Y-A-N. Like if we were to write this out, it would be pronounced Yan. Yan. And then that became Yang in translation. And the reason for this little extra G in here is because technically this N at the end is a little different from the standard N. Like in English, we just use an N for all kinds of things, but this N, if you know Japanese, there's a little bit of a, like, I don't know I forget the linguist term, but there's a G sound, a very slight G sound in there sometimes. So Yang becomes Yang here. This is pretty common, like in Chinese names when they go to Japan, Chinese names will often end with this N, but then the same name in English will have an NG, and that's just like the properties of this N and the weirdness of our English language. Actually, this NG thing is really is that just that sound. What is that? There's a linguist term for it, I forget it. That NG sound is all throughout like East Asia. You probably have seen like strange spelled names that have an NG. Like some people just have NG as their like family name, and like Vietnam and just all over, like even some of those islands out there. This sound is also really important in the Choctaw language, and having that here has benefited me greatly. I can use it instead of the way that the English dictionaries do stuff. Basically, that is different than you think. And Chinese and Japanese and English, when you're going from one to the other, things are going to be weird. Just be used to the NGs like that. Okay, so that's the deal with Yang's name. Let me make this bigger, and then we'll continue. Okay, auto battle will now continue. It is Yang versus 3 monsters. He kicks all 3 monsters at once. Good damage. He prepares and he does a powerful single attack on one and takes it out. 2 Domovois left. The third attack is a kick, takes them out, and the battle is over. But that big monster at the end, behind them all, now approaches him. And then amid the chaos, Gilbert shouts, Aitsu wa tegowai. So it's basically saying that one is going to be tough. That one's going to be like real tough. And Rydia shouts, Taskeyo. That means let's help out, let's help him. Right. Super NES, that one will not be easy. This one and this wa, they do a good contrast. They parallel the contrasting that they do. That's pretty good. Then let's help, she says in Super NES. That's all good. That one looks tough, says Gilbert. Technically looks isn't in there in Japanese, but it's okay. Rydia says let's help him, so him was added, not a big deal. Yeah, this used to say that one's tough in J2E, which is technically a teeny bit closer to the original Japanese, but that's fine if it looks that way. Naming way, Edward instead shouts, "It's a bomb!" That's not what's going on, so let's take a point. Naming way and SNES are tied at -81. Alright, then Rydia says, we have to help him. I would've, it's okay. I would've said let's, but that's no big deal. Right. We join Yang in the battle. And now we are facing a single bomb. And it is called the Maza bomb, the mother bomb. It's the English word mother. If you're an Earthbound fan, you know Maza. And Bomu, we've already met, so mother bomb. And the Super NES, because the word mother is kind of long, this became mom bomb. It became mother bomb in J2E and mom bomb in Naming Way. Alright. I forget how this battle plays out. So I'm playing this with one hand as I have the pause button ready on the other hand, because stuff happens in this battle. Alright, let's attack. Oops. Just do a fire. I forget like my technique for this. What can we do? I guess I'm gonna keep people alive. I'm gonna have Rosa keep people alive. Oh yeah, I'm over here. No wait, so I'm gonna save Yang's battle stuff for later. There's a lot going on. I don't want to deal with his new techniques and stuff here, but Yang has some new techniques that were taken out of the Super NES version. Do we got any special items here? Maybe I can use something. Okay, well I used the Hermes shoes and it made Edward faster, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe he can be a better support or something. Okay, yeah. I always like to do the Chocobo kick on this stuff. I'm gonna heal up Yang because he's kind of beat up here. Alright, we're already back to Edward. Edward's fast now. He's got those fast shoes. I could have used a potion for that amount. Alright, come on. Defeat this guy. I mean Gao, I guess. I often will use Guy to be anything. Even just a box, if I'll call it a guy sometimes. Alright, uh-oh. Alright, so the mother bomb, which looked like a normal bomb at first, shook and then like transformed into this really gigantic looking explosion cloud monster. And I just am now noticing that the top of its head seems to have like a rupture in it, like a punctured paper bag. At least that's what it looks like I'm seeing. But it looks like a big red cloud monster. Alright. Ooh, I need to move over here. Here we go. Alright. Oh, here we go. Alright, so here's a weird line. So the monster has transformed into the big red cloud monster. And then in Japanese, a text box now appears. And it's formatted very strangely. At first it says Bakuhatsu Suru, which means to explode, will explode. And then the weird formatting is there's spaces between the letters, and then at the very end there's 3 dashes exclamation. And as we pointed out, or we've already seen, the formatting and all this care that was put into this line, we want to carry that over. We want to carry that care. But the problem is, who's talking? It's hard to say. I'm going to guess because of the weirdness of it that maybe the monster is talking. So it's going Baku Hatsu Sudo or something like that. It's hard to, like, the grammar is just weird. Like, what is it trying to say? Super NES just says exploding! Exclamation. Is it talking? I'm not sure. I don't even know if it's talking in Japanese, but it's weird. J2E. It's going to explode. And that used to be explode with 3 exclamations. And in the naming way, all caps. Everything is in caps. It's gonna blow! So I don't know who's doing it and what's being referenced. Something is exploding and the whole thing is just crazy. I don't see the craziness in the Super NES. I kind of, whatever this is, maybe that's part of my confusion is that I grew up with that one. It's going, like, I would like the craziness. The weirdness is missing from J2E. I'm gonna take a point off for that, because whatever this craziness is, it's gonna blow. It's significantly different from the others that I'm gonna say care was put into it. Okay, so let me know what you guys think is happening here. I think it's the monster just saying a weird sound. Well, I wonder what it's like in 3DS. Is it the monster saying it? Oh yeah, also J2E uses the wrong hits. There should be an apostrophe in here. Yeah, I'm gonna take off a point because that's worth taking a point off. All right. Okay, it's about to explode. I need to keep healing everyone. Maybe. Yeah, I'm just gonna do some healing here. Yeah, 2 false points taken from Super NES? Okay, thanks. Keep doing that. 2 false points. Let me fix that. Alright. I keep just like taking stuff from Super NES's thing. I'm like my programming brain is so tired after developing all this stuff that I'm so reluctant to start adding more stuff. But I could probably add something to like prevent me from making those mistakes. All right, so we just had a big explosion, and all party members were hit, and it looks like the mother bomb monster is about to transform. Transforms into 3 bombs and 3 painy bombs. All right. Kicking is good here. What I'm gonna do is have him. I want to keep Rydia alive here, so I'm gonna have Gilbert heal Rydia. I'm gonna have her do. Does this work? I'm gonna try to toad them. Maybe that's a bad idea. Keep everyone alive. Painy bombs, yeah, that's what we think they are. Or at least it seems to be the consensus so far on the Japanese side of things. Like, I guess it's pain is what they're saying. Okay, we're gonna turn all these guys into toads. Does not work. I just assumed it wouldn't because of like bosses. Doing okay. I remember this being a little bit of a tough fight the first time I played this back 35 something years ago. Yeah, it's 34 years ago. Oh, don't do that. Alright, let's just start taking them out. Healing is fine. Any explosions they do, we can make up for it. So Rydia just got exploded, but she's alive. We defeated it. Rydia has leveled up. Edward has leveled up. Alright, we're gonna have a long scene here now. I gotta get some water. Alright, I'm gonna do a save state here, just in case I accidentally skip something. so we've taken out all the monsters, and the martial arts guy is now bowing to us and speaking to us. So the DS version kind of explains things a little more. I'll see that in about 10 years. Okay, so the monk, who still remains unnamed technically, says "Abunai tokoro katajikenai," and he's saying that like in a what is that word? Like a disciplined warrior. He has like a disciplined warrior tone. Like there's formality involved, and he's thanking us. He's saying thank you for. Well, okay, so the Japanese text is missing the verb, so we have to kind of insert the verb mentally. But he's saying, thank you for helping me out of that dangerous situation. But he's doing it like in a warrior way. Like samurais might talk like this too. That vibe gets a little bit lost in translation, and he just says thank you in Super NES. It's kind of sad that it gets just reduced to that, but that's fine. Okay, so J2E goes the opposite way and says, "Thank you for coming to my aid in my hour of need." Yeah, something like that. Something where he's kind of like there's formality, a proper thank you, and that he was in danger at the time. It's all good. Naming way says thank you. So the J2E one does stand above the others on this one. Then the monk now goes, "Watashi wa Fabul no Monkso Choya." So I am the head warrior monk of Fabul. Yay. Well, it looks like there's an easy type change in here. We'll get to that later. Super NES says, "I am Yang, the karate master of Fabul." Alright, so there's a problem here. He calls himself like the head warrior monk, which suggests there's like a unit or an army or something, like he leads or he trains a large group of warriors. So I gotta close this door. There's some dish sounds. Okay. So that nuance is kind of important, that he's the head of all of those warriors. Now here it just says the karate master of Fabul, which makes it sound like maybe he's the one and only. So Super NES, I'll take that off. Day 2, this becomes, "I am the captain of the monks of Fabul." Yang. Okay, that's what I'm talking about there. Naming way, "I am Yang, the high monk of Fabul." Okay, high monk is good. How does this come across anyway? Actually, I probably shouldn't do it that way. Alright, so then, alright, those are all right. It looks like the next line is going to break across the window, so I'm going to prep here. Okay, so he's about to say in Japanese, "Kono Hobs no yama de shugyo chu mamono no mure ni osoware watashi o nokoshi zenmetsu shite shimatta." Alright, so while training atop this mountain of Hobs, or this Hobs mountain, we were attacked by a swarm of monsters, and everyone was wiped out except for me. That's how that all plays out. So even though we only see one of him, like he's the only fighter that we have seen, apparently there was a whole lot more, and they all got wiped out. Alright, Super NES, it says, "We were training when they attacked us." There's also some details missing, like we were training on this mountain specifically, a like horde of monsters attacked, and they all got wiped out, except for him. There's a lot of details missing here, so let's see. "You were training when they attacked us," so the fact that they're all dead is now missing. That's an important detail, and that he's the only one, that's a pretty big detail. All right. they instead of a swarm of monsters. Unless it was that swarm, but I don't think so. It could also have been swarms of monsters. Alright, so we'll just take off that 1 point for now. In J2E, this became, my men and I were training here on Mount Hobs, and suddenly we were attacked by hordes of monsters. My men, ... were all killed, ... So the ... dots were all added in there. And then I am the only one alive, ... So that's some stuff that was kind of added in later. And it was probably, yeah, it looks like hordes was misspelled in the previous J2E patch. Like if you were gonna hoard something. Alright. I like that one. That one has everything that is necessary. Alright. Naming Way says, we were training when they attacked ... So I took a point off of the Super NES for the same reason. So Naming Way will lose a point here. They were attacked and then like they got wiped out. Like I guess it's so important that they got wiped out. Because just everything that happens next is a consequence of everyone here getting wiped out. Like all of their best fighters were wiped out here. Okay, continue. Alright, so he says one more line here. Are hodo no terare no mono tachi ga ... So ones with such a high amount of training, terare, skill, dexterity, master hand, something like that. I don't know, master hand is kind of funny, but they're just like extremely like experienced and skilled, and even despite that, ... is kind of the idea. That's missing from Super NES. So he's lamenting the loss of such great talent and skill. So Super NES, I'll lose a point on that. Alright. That's missing in J2E also, the sentence. And in Naming Way. So every translation here loses that. Are they hodo no terare no mono tachi ga? Alright, I think there's an easy type change in here. So that the are they hodo no terare no mono tachi ga became are they hodo no ude o motsu mono tachi ga. So for the easy type, the text became simpler. And ude is literally arm, but ude also means skill. Here, arm or skill. So people, even though like they had such skill, they ... Alright, next line. Okay, so Cecil responds now to Yang's introduction. Well, what's going on? I think there's a cat trying to sneak in here. Bokura mo faburu e. So notice that he says boku. Bokura mo faburu e mukatteru tochu nano desu. So he's being polite. Also, he's using des. Nano. He's like doing a full nano out there. Here, nano desu. Mukatteru. One of my cats once in. Right. So we are currently in the middle of heading to Fabul as well. Okay, I have to open the door so this cat can come in. Cats are gonna just continue to rule this stream. Okay, the cat is in the room. So you know the rule of cats is that the cat is going to work out. Alright, we're in the middle of going to Fabul. So there's an also here. And he's doing an explanation that's polite or just pleasant. This has became, we're on our way to Fabul. So a lot of those nuances I was just mentioning is gone in there, but that's alright. I mean, for our purposes, I would have put more in there. Okay, so, oh, that's right. There was one more thing I forgot to show off. We'll do it at the end of the stream. Alright, we're headed to Fabul and J2E. Man, so much comes out of there. We're on our way to Fabul and Ciso. I mean, it's explaining the situation, it's fine. Hey. Hello. Alright, so Rosa now says, Gorobeza toyu otoko ga baro no ryoshi kristaro. So a man named Golbez is using Baron and verbing the crystals, ... And verb is unstated. You just have to kind of guess as a translator. Like, you have to fill in the blanks. Or, I mean, even if you just know Japanese, you have to fill in the blanks. What did change? Oh, yeah, just that one thing. Alright, so Rosa says in Super NES, Golbez is using Baron to get crystals. So the fact that it's a man is missing. It's already clear to the viewer, but to the player. But we're trying to inform Yang about it, so that would have been a good detail to include. But I'll just skip that. J2E, a man called Golbeza is using Baron to collect the crystals. So they've added to collect to fill in the verb that was missing. We like to include our verbs in English, otherwise we start talking like Yoda or like we never have a full thought ever. So, this a man called is kind of important because in the naming way it just says Golbez is using Baron to get crystals. And this is gonna kind of just assume that Rosa knows that Yang knows who Golbez is. It's sort of the weird loophole that arises from that. That's not what's happening, but it's okay. Alright, so Yang now looks up. New text box happens. Uh-oh. You wanna go out? You wanna come out? The stream's gonna be full of so many cat interruptions, I apologize. Alright, so Yang now says, Toyu koto wa Faburu no kazi no kristalu mo! Exclamation. And that roughly means, which means that Fabul's wind crystal as well! Exclamation. And again, the Japanese text kind of leaves out verbs and things that's so common in Japanese writing. Japanese speech. Alright, so Super NES, that means they will try to capture our crystal of air as well. And we talked about this last time, but like literally, it's the kaze. Kaze is wind, breeze. They call it air in Super NES. And I was trying to think, like, if you called it, if you tried to translate this back into Japanese, it would be kind of weird to use air instead of wind, but as long as it's consistent with itself, I'm okay with it. If this was a really, really rich game and there was a difference between a crystal of air and a crystal of wind, then the phrasing would have mattered. Oh, we're joined by Poe. You okay? That means they will try to capture our crystal of air as well. Then J2E, they will be coming after Fabul's wind crystal. The sense of as well or to would have been nice to include in there. I'll leave that. Naming way, that means they're after the wind crystal as well. Okay, all good there. Then Gilbert now responds. Damsion no crystal wa sudeni ubawarete shimaimashita. So he's saying, yes, Damsion's crystal has already been stolen. And there's like an extra negative feeling on that verb there in Japanese. What did change? Just, okay, so it looks like Easy Type just has there's some formatting changes. Super NES has Edward say, no doubt, Damsion was already attacked and had the crystal taken away. So already attacked, this attacked and is missing. I mean, like it's added, but I'll allow it. J2E, yes, ... So this no doubt period is a little different feeling from what I get from ... in the original, but I'll be okay with it. J2E, Gilbert says yes ... Damsian's crystal has already been stolen. Okay, that's all in there. What is different? Just J2E has formatting changes. Then a naming way. Edward says assuredly so. So he goes from saying which is like the most basic monosyllabic agreement, to assuredly so with a period. So the nuance on here, it feels not as light as I would like, but it's not bad either. It works. Damsian has already been raided. So I would have liked him to talk about the crystal, since the crystal is like the whole point of this whole game. When there's a crystal, talk about the crystal. Okay. Next, we have Cecil talking. 次はファブルが狙われているんです。So Fabul is being targeted next.
Wait, we must hear about Yang talking?
Yang talking.
Yang says good God.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Well, we'll get to that.
Oh.
Yeah. Right, so there's a line here by Cecil saying Fabul is being targeted next. Like it's a progressive, like it's happening. It's not going to happen, it's being targeted next.
Oh, they didn't happen.
So Cecil says Fabul is next. Alright, it looks like that line is missing. That Cecil line is missing here in J2E. So we'll remove a point from J2E. Or wait, I did it again. Do I need to make up any more? Do I have to readjust Augsburg? Alright. Yang. Oh wait. Okay, it's also missing from naming way. So J2E and naming way both leave out Cecil's text here. Then Yang in Japanese goes exclamation mark ... Nan toyu koto da. Shuryoku no monkutai wa zenmetsu. Okay, I better stop there because it's going kind of far. So he's basically exclamation mark is shocked. Then he pauses for a second to, I guess, take it in, and he's like, I can't believe it, or like, how can this be? Nan toyu koto da. Nan toyu koto da. Is it in it? Basically he's saying, I can't believe this is a terrible situation we're in. And then he says that the main monk force has been wiped out, period. Let's look at the Super NES. Alright, so that became in the Super NES, but ... exclamation. We are now helpless. Alright, so the point of them being wiped out is removed from the Super NES. I mean, it does say in the next line that he's the only one. No, I'm gonna make it, okay. We are now helpless. I'm the only survivor of our main forces. Yeah, okay, so there's a line that was sort of added in there. Alright, and J2E. Exclamation mark ... Good God! Exclamation. Our main force was all killed. Alright, so that good God one seems really weirdly out of character for like this disciplined warrior monk with like, I don't know, like Asian overtones a little bit. Seems weird. I'm gonna take a point off on that. It just feels tonally off to me. Alright, then let's see. His shock is also missing from naming way. I'm gonna take a point off. I think it's like a whole sentence. Technically, exclamation ... What the heck is missing? Alright. So Fabul's helpless. The point about him being the only one left, or the fact that the main force is now gone, is an important thing. So I'm gonna take off a point on naming way here. Like the main force, like Shuryoku is a pretty big word. Shuryoku, like main force. Okay, so there's more text here. It's going to go over a window. Shiro ni iru no wa mada shugyo mo asai mono bakari. So the ones in the castle, they're nothing but ones who still have like shallow training. Literally, that's how that goes out. Their training is shallow. It's still shallow. Alright. This became in the Super NES. Those in the castle have just started on their training. In J2E, that became those in the castle have only just begun their training. Naming way, only students remain in the castle. It's kind of neat how they're all kind of pointing at the same idea differently. Alright, that's fine. We're talking about the castle and they're weak. The weak castle ones are weak. Alright, one last line here. Ima seme komarete wa hito tamari mo. So if we were to be like invaded now, they wouldn't stand a chance. Like they would just be wiped up. Hito tamari mo. So that last sentence is missing in Super NES and Naming Way. In J2E, it's kind of in there, and it just says, if we're attacked now, ... The delivery is off, and the implication is a little weaker than I would have liked, but I'm going to just stick with it. Okay. So, Yang looks a little like upset. Rosa now says, Osoraku saki no mamono tachi mo gorobeza ni tsukawasareta hazu. Man, those passive tenses always catch me. Tsukawasareta hazu. So she's saying those monsters just a minute ago, those were probably like sent by Golbez. Okay, looks like there's some big changes in the easy type here. Yeah, the word for send is a little less fancy, but it's the same idea. Like he sent them here. So the Golbez sent them here. He must have sent them here. Basically, is what that was in easy type. Super NES. Golbez must have sent those monsters. Period. Okay, good. And J2E, most likely those monsters were sent by Golbez. I would have put just a period there. Alright, Naming Way spells out everything by saying Golbez must have sent those monsters to distract you while they assault Fabul. Okay, so to distract you while they assault Fabul was not in the original. And there's also an exclamation in there. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that there. It could go either way on that one. Okay. Yang says in Japanese now, Warera o keshite faburu o mubobi ni suru tame? Exclamation question mark. And then that means in order to like what's a good word for that? Mubobi, like to make it defenseless, to make Fabul completely defenseless. To like get rid of us and make Fabul defenseless, and he's like shocked by the idea. Okay, to keep us busy here and attack Fabul in the Super NES. Alright, I see what's happened. Naming Way is like kind of skipping ahead in all the dialogue boxes. So that extra line that we had before is it should have been here. In order to weaken Fabul's defenses, says J2E. What was that? Okay. I'm getting a little distracted and lost here, I apologize. Alright. Okay, Naming Way, you're just being kind of weird here, I don't know. You're kind of confusing me here. Alright, Right, so Cecil was going to respond to this now. とすれば手薄になったファブルへもうすでに向かっているはず exclamation. That means like if we assume so or if so, then they should already be on their way to Fabul, which is now low on manpower kind of feeling. That's like the feeling that all does. Teusu, short of hands, insufficient. Cecil says in Supernius, then they will be attacking any minute! Exclamation. Alright. J2E, if that's the case, then they should be coming any minute. I would have liked them to talk about how now they're light on manpower. It shows that even Cecil understands the situation with manpower problems, and that makes sense later when we join. We offer our manpower, human power. Okay, looks like there's gonna be more text here. Right, Cecil has some more text here. Bokura mo tetsudaimasu. Hayaku faburu e. So we'll help too. Let's hurry to Fabul. Okay, that line is missing in Supernius on both of those, so I'm 2 off on that. J2E, we'll help you. Quickly, we must go to Fabul. Okay, so those are accounted for. His offer to help is missing in Naminoi, and the rushing to Fabul is also missing. Yang looks around at the party. Looks like he is looking downward or he's bowing or something, I don't know. And then he says, Shikashi, sonata tachimare, makikonde wa, and that means, however, I cannot just drag you into this too, drag all of you into this too. Alright, this became, in Supernius, but you are a Dark Knight. Is that even in here? No, there's nothing about Dark Knights in the Japanese text here, so I'm gonna take off a point on Supernius. J2E, but I can't let you get caught up in all this. ... Yeah, that's what it's going for in Japanese. Alright, this became a naming way. I'm grateful. Period. However, this matter does not concern you. Period. I don't like that. That I'm grateful is not in there. And he's worried about dragging them into it. Like he's like feeling all apologetic that like I can't drag you into this. But in this is like he almost feels like, I don't know. It could go a couple different ways. There's a couple ways to read into this in English. So I'm gonna take off a point on that. Like he's let's see. Alright, so we have Cecil now responding to that, like Yang doesn't want to drag everyone else into it. But Cecil says, Kore wa bokura no tatakai demo arun desu. This is another one of those lines that Japanese fans kind of hold up just a little bit as like a famous quote. And it means this is also our fight as well. And it's kind of emphatic. This is our fight too. And then Supernius, that became, it's not only your problem, but also ours, period. Like he's raring to go. He's like saying, oh no, don't worry about dragging us into it. It's already our fight. And he's pretty emphatic about it. Would have been good to have exclamation there. There's weird phrasing too, but okay. Cecil says in J2E, this is our fight too. Naming way tries to do this flow thing. From however, this matter does not concern you. And then Cecil says, but it does. It looks like they're trying to do a thing here in naming way. Looks like this scene got a lot of work, especially by the naming way people or person. I'm not really sure. I thought it was just one person originally. Right. I don't really like what it does. Like this is a quote that Japanese fans kind of have. Like probably find people quoting it on Japanese sites. for that to be the same, but it does. I don't know. It just kind of doesn't feel right to me. Okay, so Gilbert says, also, boku wa, we're gonna cross the window. Boku wa Damsion no oji desu. As for me, I am Damsion's prince. So I'm the Prince of Damsion. Or like, as for me, I am the Prince of Damsion. Prince of Damsion and J2E. Or I mean, Super NES, I'm the Prince of Damsion and J2E. For I am the Prince of Damsion and Namely. Well, that's fine. We'll just go with it. Then Cecil now says, Boku to Rosa wa waru ni imashita. So, Rosa and I were in Baron. Literally, Rosa and I were in Baron, as we see in the Super NES. The phrasing is a little strange in English if you do it straight like that. Like, we used to live in Baron, or might be a little closer to what's implied. Yeah, like, and so J2E says Rosa and I were from Baron. There's a past tense to it. And the way it was handled here, the from helps better than the in. J2E did a better thing there. Alright, so in the naming way, Cecil and I were citizens of Baron. Okay, so this is kind of getting the implication better. Like, it's unstated citizens of. We're of Baron, you could also have said, maybe. Okay, they all got that. Next is kono komo, as for this girl too, as for this child too, Baron o ni damasarete, boku ga. Tricked by the king of Baron, I ... Again, he's talking about that, the whole mist stuff, and he gets dotty about it. Alright, so in Super NES, this became, and she is Rydia, period. I was fooled by King of Baron, and I had to defeat her mother. So it filled in the blanks with the ... dots by saying, and I had to defeat her mother. It's spelled out. I would have liked that to not be spelled out. Because remember, he's barely holding his words together here, so. Super NES, I'll take one off on that. Like, his whole hesitation and sadness is missing in this Super NES here. J2E, and this girl ... I was deceived by the king of Baron, and then ... So that's pretty close to the Japanese here. Naming way. And this little girl ... the king of Baron tricked me into ... Okay, it's all good. Also, this way in Super NES is called I was fooled by King of Baron. Missing, there's a, we would probably have put the word the in there. Unless King of Baron is like his official title or like his official name, but it's not usually. I was fooled by the King of Baron, so when there's a in the problems, that's another sign of like a non-native English speaker, like from Japan, doing the writing. What happened here? Okay, just looks like there's formatting changes on J2E. So let's continue. And then after Cecil brings up the part about being tricked by the king, Rydia just says ... Okay, that's present in all versions. Alright, so Yang now looks up at everyone and says, Mina wakayarika. So you all have your reasons. You all have your backstories kind of feeling. There's something to you guys. ... Katachike nai. Sukedachi negaeru ka. So this whole second part, like Katachike nai, sukedachi negaeru ka, you won't hear this ever in modern Japanese. This is like a way of Katachike nai is kind of like a warrior way of saying thank you, maybe. Like we have phrases for that in English too. Like nothing's coming off the top of my head, but you can think of some. And sukedachi negaeru ka is also a little fancy, unusual phrasing. So it's basically saying thank you. Can I request your assistance? Yudachi's assistance in a fight, and Negairu is to like ask for something, request. Alright. This all became in Super NES. You have your reasons, I see. Would you help me then? It's okay. All the flavor of the text kind of is lost. His warrior style talk is a little bit lost. Okay. J2E, you have your own reasons as well, I see. ... I apologize. May I request your help? So I apologize is a little weird here. I'm going to take one off on J2E here. There's only some minor changes in between the J2E patches. I am in your debt. Yes, that's a really good one. I'm in your debt. Much obliged. Although that one has other significant uses. But yeah, I'm in your debt is a really good one. Kataji Kenai. Alright. May I request your help? Yeah, they have the weird phrasing. Warrior phrasing, I guess. It makes me think of like old samurai times also. Alright, so naming way. You have your own reasons, I see. Would you aid us? Okay, you can see he's trying to talk. They're trying to make him talk a little non-standard here. That's good. But he's not thinking. He's not thanking us. So naming, we got a point off for that. Cecil responds, Mochiron da, sa faburu e. That means, of course. Now let's go to Fabul. He's real raring to go. Okay, that became in Super NES, of course. And then the second part is missing, so I'm going to take a point off on that. Then J2E. Of course, let's go. Would have liked Fabul, but it's okay. Naming way, of course. Okay, naming way has also lost the let's go to Fabul. Alright. Yang has maybe one more line here. Let's see. Alright, Yang has one last line. Faburu wa higashi no yama koeta tokoro. Sa isogimashou. Fabul is beyond the mountains, East Mountain, or the mountains to the east. Now then, let us hurry, let us make haste, kind of feeling. Let's rush. Okay, that became in Super NES. Fabul is to the east over the mountain. Let us go. Oh, this let us go, I like that. Instead of let's go, let us go. I like that. I want to give SNES a point there. J2E. Fabul is east of the mountain. Let's hurry. Naming way. Fabul is east of this mountain. Let's go. Alright. And that was just formatting, right? Yeah. Yeah, of course, to Fabul. Oh, hey, Maria-chan's in here. Hey, Maria-chan. So if you don't know, Maria-chan worked on the Final Fantasy V fan translation back in the late 90s. And also they were going to do like I kept asking like, hey, can I do a Star Tropics translation into Japanese someday? And Maria-chan went and did all the hard work. And then I was dumb and I was like, oh man, I'm too busy. I can't do it now. So if that Star Tropics thing is still on the table, I kind of want to take it up sometime. I also want to translate it into Choctaw, so that'd be fun. So let's work on that again sometime. And I can just cover my own translation on here and share it with everyone, with the whole world. Star Tropics needs more love, so let's do that. What got me into translation? I'll have to write that one down. What got me into translation? The quick answer is that like I'm kind of in this weird spot between cultures, or like my different sides of my family are different cultures, so you get kind of stuck in the like a valley is like how I feel that you're in this like cultural valley where you're kind of like in between them, and it kind of just fits naturally with me, I guess. Oh, I gotta pause it. Monkku so yang ga nakama ni natta. I always say nakama, so weird. Nakama. I gotta get better at that. Nakama. Ma. I gotta raise that to That's another Choctaw thing. Okay. Monkku so yang. So the warrior monkey has joined joined as a comrade, literally, has become a comrade. Karate Man Yang joined. I kind of like the phrase Karate Man. You see if you can hear people saying that phrase in English, Karate Man. All right, Monk Yang joined the party in J2E. Hi, Monk Yang joined. So technically it doesn't say hi. It just says Monku So. If you wanted to put the hi in there, maybe putting Cho would have worked. But I won't mark off on this. All right, everyone is now in my party, and we can now continue to walk around. We got blasted by the Mombomb, so let's do some potions. And then we can start to look at some of Yang's techniques and things. Did I get any items or anything of help? Guess not. Oh, Zooey. The cats of this house run us. One step and I got attacked. Alright, we're fighting some more of the penny bombs and bombs. I'm gonna try it. I don't think it works here. Okay, we're just doing our fights. Like, it's important that I don't escape from battles and things. And plus we might see weird things during battles. It's nice to do these. It also helps my head cool off after long stretches of text. It has good pacing that way, like a bunch of text and a whole bunch of just like exploring and fun. And what's next? That was always what pushed me when I played this back in the day. What's next? Coming from Final Fantasy 1 where the story progression was like barely there and nothing was really pushing you except for you have to collect the things. Okay. But in this game, I kept renting it because I have to know what happens next. There's so many things. The story just takes so many turns so fast. It was such a big jump from 1 to 2. Okay, so I confused the penny bomb and made him hurt himself. Rosa has gained a level. She learned, oh, here's a good, this is really interesting. So this is the protest spell, like pro and then test. It's not the word protect, but it's supposed to sound like it. So protest, and it's like a defensive spell that you learn. You don't learn this in the Super NES version. However, the game's data has a name for it. And when I made all this programming stuff, I discovered that it pulls this out. And the spell is going to be called Arc at some point, it looks like. But it's just not in there. I think, right? I'll have to double check. Anyway, in J2E it became Protect. Naming way it also became Protect. So although it's protest in Japanese, again we like to have all of our spell names become proper words for some reason, most of them. Right, let me look at that again real quick. Protest. Right, and easy type, that became the same. It just took off the icon maybe before it. That's strange. J2E, it used to be Pratuk. Then it became Protect. Right. I gotta fight better. I gotta do better fights. Right, now we've sort of like, we're on our way out of the mountains now, but we're not fully. And now we are on the Hobs no Yama Higashiguchi, and that's the east exit. And we can see in all the versions, it just says Mount Hobs East. Oh, what did it used to say here? All the same. At least in Japanese, it's clear that it's like an exit or an entrance. That's the only difference there. It's not a big deal. I guess if you're lost and you're trying to find directions, maybe it matters. So enemies get the protect spell. The sword women might use it. Okay, when we get to them, we'll see. There's got to be a better way. I'm gonna sing to one of these bombs, see if we can confuse it. Ooh, no, we just silenced it. Can it do the self-destruct now? Let's just do an ice rod on this guy and see what happens. We're at this weird part of the game where we have all these party members here. Pretty soon we're gonna lose a bunch. Alright, the 2 bombs are gone. We got 2 painty bombs left. Man, Yang is like a tank. Oh, I wonder what equipment he has. You've charmed one of them. Alright, let's just do proper fighting here. Ah, so 1 blew up, but Cecil has survived. And Rydia is doing fire to the final bomb. It only takes 1 damage from fire, so don't do that. But it attacked itself and killed itself. Yang has gained a level. Alright, we're about to exit the mountain. I think we've encountered all the enemies to encounter there. Alright, we'll do a tent. Tent. Kind of like the icon that it has here for the mountain pass. It's like a little trail goes up the mountain. Looks kind of neat. I'm glad it's not like a cave. Right, let me do a save state just in case. I really hate it when I miss a line. I apologize if I miss lines. It gets confusing. Alright, so I have to take a really long walk to the east now. A really long walk to the east, and then we'll get to Fabul. So it's kind of like an endurance to get there, I guess. So right now we're fighting 3 Domovoys and a new enemy, which is a red sword rat. And that red sword rat is called Gatoringa in Japanese, which is how do we pronounce that? Like a Gatling? Gatling gun, is like the type of like multi-fire machine gun looking thing. They love the word Gatling over there. Instead of machine gun, or like we would use the word generic word machine gun. A lot of times they'll use Gatling. A lot of that in One Piece, for example. Anyway, these are called Gatoringa, and that just kind of makes it a thing that does that thing. Okay, this became an easy type. It became Toge Nezumi, and that's like what? Oh, yeah, just like a hedgehog type of thing. Literally like thorn splinter rat. Oh, it's a Ryukyu spiny rat, technically. So it's like a very regional spiny rat. Tokudaya osimensis is its Latin. So hey, we have real world monsters now in the easy type. Okay, Super NES, that monster became Needler. Became Gatlinger in J2E and Gatlinger in Naming Way. So that's our trivia there. Pokemouse is a good one. I think Laguna in 8 is a machine gun. I think it is machine gun. Man, Edward, you can't do anything. All he can do is fall and say wah. I'm looking at chat, got a little distracted there. Hey. I'm just doing my stupid fighting again. So currently Super NES is at -90, J2E is at -9, and Naming Way is at -95. So Naming Way is taking a drop. As we start to go further into the story, and as we start to have more characters interacting with each other, like we're still picking up our characters. We haven't really like started the story yet. I think the dialogue will start to get pretty weird in the Super NES, or I mean J2E. I'm curious to see how crazy it gets. Okay, we're back outside. Let's continue east. Kind of do our winding way around. There's something like this over at Mysidia too. It feels like it's like padding, so you don't get to your destination right away. Don't remember what other enemies are out here. Just more bombs and painty bombs. Darn. I'm gonna do an Ankoku on these guys. It's probably the worst idea, and they'll all just explode on me. So dry ether, yeah, they're dry ethers, and they're ether dries technically in Japanese. And we just call them like ether 2s, I think. Or later we call them maybe X ethers? I'm not sure. Okay, we're doing aim. We're gonna do the aim attack. No, we're not, because it just blew up. Still just walking all our way. Okay, so we got a bunch of Domo boys and goblins. Pretty easy to take these out. I'm just gonna do it maybe with an Ankoku from the Dark Wave from Cecil. Yeah, as far as Final Fantasy goes, I kind of stopped at 10 technically. Like I did 12 for a few hours, but it just wasn't I wasn't feeling it at all. All that Evilis stuff, Evilis, however you pronounce it, everything from that is just is off-putting to me. And then all the Nomura stuff after that, nothing about all of those games interested me. I think it's because just the simpler depiction of everything allows my imagination to appreciate it better. I don't want everything hip and slick and cool. Like when Twin Snakes for GameCube came out, it has such a different tone from the original, right? That's how I feel about like modern Final Fantasies. When I say modern, I mean even like 15 years ago. They don't feel the same to me, so I don't really go to them too much anymore. Alright, so now we're at Fabul. While I'm here, I'll just do a tent. There's no reason to do a tent here. Also, as my, my Japanese was good enough to play stuff in Japanese, so I would feel like unfulfilled playing the English versions at that point, if that makes sense. Right, we're now in Fabul, which has a very heavy Chinese martial arts vibe to it all. In Fabul. Fabul Castle, it says in naming way, but Fabul everywhere. So it only says Fabul in Japanese, but it adds castle in naming way. It's kind of like the opposite of what we have been seeing. It's interesting. Alright, so here's some monks out here. You guys can kind of see. I'll point it out again. Let me bring it up. Those guys, they have little dots on their heads, if you look. And where are they? Here we go. They're kind of like based on the Shaolin monks. And I guess they have dots on their heads. At least in entertainment. I've never met one, so I don't know. Don't know what that's about. I bet it has something important. Right. Let me make this big again. Okay, this first one says, Yan-sama, odoraremashita ka? Heika ga omachi desu. So very, very polite. In line with the fact that Yang is like the head of the fighting monks, or the warrior monks. He's like the head of it all. So the Sama, we can see. You can see the Sama is like very polite instead of San. Using polite grammar here to talk up to Yang, upwards, putting themselves down. That's how Japanese works. Between saying like, Master Yang, you have returned. His Majesty is waiting, and this also has politeness. Omachi desu. So there's like a lot of politeness. This means His Majesty is waiting. Super NES, Yang, we were waiting for you. So the respect is missing from the Super NES. I'll remove that point. We were waiting for you is incorrect translation. His Majesty is waiting. Another one for Super NES. J2E, Sir Yang, you're back. His Majesty is waiting. I would have probably made this a little more polite somehow. Like you've returned or something. Or you have returned. Like more formal, polite. Not a big deal here. His Majesty is waiting. Sir Yang, says naming way, welcome back. That's wrong. J2E had a change. What is it? Oh, just formatting. Okay. Then this other one says the same thing. This guy next to him. So the two guards there say the same thing. Okay, two more guards are posted saying the same thing. Well, you know, I could mark off for all of these if I wanted, but I'm not going to. That's pretty neat. Alright, so then all those 4 people say the same line. This is pretty common for JRPGs back in the day. Saves on space and stuff. Okay, we're on the first floor of the Ikkai. 1F, floor 1, 1F. Fine. Alright, some more guards are posted. Let's look. We've now entered the castle. We're inside of the castle. These guards say, Shuryoku butai ga zenmetsu masaka. The main forces were wiped out? Impossible. Or that can't be. Super NES, we lost our main forces? No, I can't believe it. Yeah, masaka will often like kind of break into multiple things sometimes like that. That's fine. So I'm okay with it. J2E, we lost our main forces? Impossible. Oh, this used to be a lot different in the older J2E patch. It used to be, our main force was wiped out. I can't believe it. That's also, I mean, that's the same thing. I guess someone was rephrasing it. Naming Way says, so our main forces are gone. ... Okay, that's tonally wrong. And, yeah, the part about, like, I can't believe it, it's impossible, is also missing. But that comes from that missing line. So I want to take off one on that line. Alright, this other guard says the same thing. We can go into those. There's like an armory shop weapon place, and there's an inn. We'll visit those in a bit, but not yet. So I'm going further upstairs to the second floor, the Nikai. Some more guards are posted outside of the throne room. We're not going to go to the throne room just yet. Here we go. Modorarimashita ka, Yan-sama. And that, again, that's like a very polite, upward speaking way of saying, you're back, Yang, Sir Yang. That's how that would work. So you've returned Yang, Master Yang. That's how that would be. So Super NES, Sir Yang, and that's it. That's just it. So the part about your back, that could have been in there. J2E, you've come back, Master Yang. Okay, that's alright. Used to be, you must be tired, please rest at the end. I don't know why that would have been there. That's a very different text, but that was replaced with the proper translation. So someone must have noticed that there was a mistake. You must be tired, please rest at the end. Feels like this is what this guy will say later in the game. And maybe there was a mistake when they were doing the translation. Like maybe copy and paste, or maybe just like when you do one of those Scantron tests and you skip a question and then that screws you all up. Maybe that's what's happened here. J2E gets it. Naming Way just says Sir Yang, so I'll take off a point there. It could be this also, or this other guy says the same thing. We'll see. So there's a second guard over here. Let's see what he says. Oh, he says the same thing. With the same text issue. Okay. We're avoiding the throne room because the story will continue. Right. Are there any people on this edge? I always forget if there's people up here. I feel like not. But I always kind of mix this part up with Doma Castle in 6. Okay, there's no one around here. So we're going to go into the left tower first. That means we're going to have to talk to Ying's wife in a second. Alright, so there's 2 towers in this castle. We are now in the Hidari no To, which is the left tower. This became left tower in Super NES, left tower in J2E, and west tower in Naming Way. Calling left west. It's hard to believe, but in Japanese, there are times when the east and west are flipped, and sometimes it has to do with like old-timey things, old-timey like, I don't know, religious things or just traditions. You want to be careful with that. You gotta be careful with your west and east when you do that kind of stuff. Like in Sumo, west and east are flipped. There's a lot of flipped wests and easts and things. Like the secret, there's a secret code for zeroing. if you can beat the game 30 to 32 times, you can get a secret code to tell you how to do like unlock a menu. But no one could ever figure out how to do it because it used west and east and north and south, I think, instead of up and down and left and right. And the west and east were actually flipped to do the like alternate Japanese style. So this west-east flip thing is a thing that happens. You gotta watch out for it sometimes. Okay, so we are in a room with a bunch of treasures. And here we have a pot with Zeusu no Ikari. That's Zeus's anger or Zeus's wrath. And this is another one of those magic items that you can use in battle. It doesn't exist in Super NES, so it became dummy. It became the Zeus's Wraith in J2E, and Zeus Rage in naming way. Let's see what that is. Let's haul it down here and see what we got. So Zeusu no Ikari became, oh yeah, it's dummied out in easy type as well. Okay, J2E says Zeus's Wrath, Wrath of Zeus, thunder attack to all targets. And then that became, in naming way, Zeus Rage, hit all enemies with lightning. So they both say all, unlike what we've seen before. Any more there? Nope. I'm checking some pots for items. Okay, now there's 3 chests. This one has the Bomu no Kakira, which is the bomb fragment. We've encountered that before on the first or second day. We have the Nankyoku no Kaze, the South Pole Wind, Antarctic Wind again, and then we have a potion. There might be something else in there, I'm not sure. Right, we're on the second floor of this tower, and it looks to be in like an infirmary looking place with a bunch of beds. Naming way is in one bed. We've already looked at naming way, so we won't here. But there's a white wizard. Let's talk to the white wizard. This white wizard says, Koko wa kyu joutai no kango shitsu desu. So this is like the, this is a nursing room. Well, I guess nursing room is a pretty weird phrase, but this is like the room where you get healed up at. Like, the easiest phrase, if you want to know, is like maybe infirmary, or, I don't know. Maybe if it was a school, we wouldn't call it a nurse's office. But anyway, it's where you go when you need to get medical aid. Kyujo-tai is like when relief, or like a rescue team or party is the Kyujo-tai, but it can also mean other things sometimes. Like relief, aid, or rescue. Kyujo-tai. Right. There's a lot of stuff weird. My brain is getting a little tired here, I apologize. This is the nursing room. In Super NES, J2E, this is the castle's infirmary. Maybe anyway, this is the infirmary. It feels like it's a makeshift place to me, but who knows. Mahjong might have west-east flipped as well. Right, we're on the 3rd floor now, and this is actually going to be Yang's room. This is like the top floor. Yang's wife is in here. And when we talk to her, there's going to be a lot to say. I apologize that I didn't prepare for this part in advance. But basically in Japanese, this Yang's wife speaks with a really strong Japanese dialect. It's kind of, well, I'm not looking at it right now, but I'm guessing it's like very heavy Kansai dialect, Western Japanese dialect, which makes it like they're a little more animated and crass and rough and gruff feeling. Maybe just think of it, they're a little more, what is it, like if you took Texans and New Jersey people and New Yorkers and kind of like made them into one, and then took that spirit and gave it to the Japanese language. That's what Kansai kind of feels like to me. There's like a lot of things at once. Maybe that's why a lot of translators will go for like Southern accents or New York accents. Maybe we all sort of just naturally congregate around those. All right, we're gonna talk to her now. Wait, what's in here? Is there something in here? No. All right. And I gotta mention first that because she speaks in a Japanese dialect, especially Kansai dialect, the starting with the PlayStation 1 translation, they gave her a really heavy, like country gal, Southern belle, English American dialect, and because most of the later translations are based on the PS1, like they can be traced back to the PS1 translation, her dialect, her Southern Belle dialect, unfortunately I don't have it ready here, but it kind of, it weakens and weakens because it was like kind of top heavy at first. In the DS translation, where what they did was they gave her like the standard speech style, just like common speech style, and in comparison to like the rest of the world, the rest of everything else, where everyone speaks like in kind of old fantasy talk a little bit. So that's a neat way that they accomplished that in the DS translation. Alright, so here we have, she's just identified as onna, which is woman. And in Japanese, she says ara, okaeri, and I was like, oh, welcome back, in a very like familiar tone, like the head of a household might say that. This is also feminine, right? Super NES, this became hi, honey. J2E, oh, welcome home. And then naming way, hi, honey. Honey is technically not in there, but it's okay. They're trying to reinflate. So Yang now says, watashi no tsuma da. My wife. This is my wife. And then he also says, Kochira wa Seshiru dono. This is Sir Cecil. This here is Sir Cecil. Abunai tokoro o tasukete itadaita. So he's speaking very politely of us. He's using dono as a suffix, which is like sir or lord or something like that. You can roughly go to. Then he says, he helped me out of a dangerous situation. And he's being polite about it. Okay, so that became Super NES. It became, it's my wife. This is Cecil. He saved my life. I didn't realize that becomes a poem, kind of. Here's your, it's my wife. Oh, it's only 3 syllables. It's my wife. This is Cecil. He saved my life. It's not a haiku. It was kind of close. All right. All those like little Japanese nuance details, they kind of come out. Also saying it's my wife is pretty weird. It's okay. I'm just gonna leave it. J2E. This is my wife. This is Sir Cecil. He and his friends saved my life. So he and his friends isn't in there originally. Was that added? No. Alright. It would have been nice. Yeah, I'm gonna take off a point on J2E here. Okay, he and his friends saved my life. Okay, this became a naming way. Sheila, this is Cecil. He saved my life. Alright. So first, it doesn't denote that it's the wife. That would have been nice. Maybe this is a girlfriend or something, you know, who knows. Take off a point on naming way. I would have liked the sir in there. I won't mark off on that. That politeness is just so missing. He saved my life is... Yeah, right. And also, she doesn't have a name in the original Japanese. She just is Yang's wife, you know? Or he just calls it Tsuma, which is wife. But the naming way says Sheila. And where does Sheila come from? And I'm assuming Sheila is like an after years thing, like 15 years after Final Fantasy IV came out. They made a sequel on ancient old cell phones. And I guess they fleshed out more characters and stuff and gave characters names. We have already seen that Rose's wife was named Joanna in this patch, even though she has no name technically. And here we see that this Yang's wife also was given a name by naming way. And again, I guess it's just backporting things, but because it's not reflected and it's not reflective of the original, I'm gonna mark off a point on that. So naming ways are now at -100. All right, we have Yang's wife. She's now identified as Yang's wife, saying "Soitsu wa domo ne." Oh, I can almost hear that. It's kind of like, "Thanks for that," like "Thanks for that," or I don't know. I'm such a bad voice actor. I can't convey it, but it is such a different way of speaking than like, especially the Yang people. Soitsu wa domo ne. okay, how do I put this? You know, in like maybe like martial arts movies, and maybe there's like a housewife, and usually in those movies, housewives will get involved in all the fighting, and they're very spirited and kind of wisecracking. That is a very strong vibe I get from all of this character in Japanese. Like she's kind of like modeled after that, maybe. And she's got that like fiery spirit in her. And that it's conveyed in the writing, but it's hard to convey it in translation. Alright, so thanks for that. Tokoro de anta, konna toko de abura utete ino kai. By the way, honey, is it really okay for you to just be like jibber jabbering like this? Is how that comes about? Is like, are you just like wasting time here? You shouldn't be doing other things. Alright, so that part about like, should you really just be sitting here wasting time chewing the fat? That's missing in the Super NES. J2E, thanks. By the way, dear. Wait. Yeah, so first, that whole line is missing in Super NES. Alright. So J2E, thanks. By the way, dear, is this really a time for you to be hanging around here? So yeah, that's kind of what it's going for. Although, I would have liked more spirit. Just some more spirit in there. And that's why they were trying to do that with PS1, I think. Trying to go with a really heavy southern dialect. But it just felt out of place. Okay. Sheila, this is Cecil. He saved my life. And then Sheila says, thanks, just thanks, in naming way. So just like with the Super NES, the line is missing there. Alright. And that's all. Good. Sometimes she gets wordy, and when she gets wordy, it's like, oh no, I don't want to have to deal with that. Okay, now we're leaving this left tower, and we're going to go to the right tower. Right, now we're in the right tower, the Migi no to. Right tower, and then naming way call it East Tower. And again, you want to be careful maybe. It doesn't really matter, but it's okay. I'm gonna have to take a break soon. I gotta close the windows and stuff. We'll do that in a second, but first let's finish this room. Hobs. Okay, so we're talking to. Okay, there's like 3 beds in this room and some monks. 3 monks. 2 monks are at the table. I'm talking to one of those monks now. Hobsu de kishu o uketa so desu ne. O kega wa. I heard you were attacked. You were like ambushed on Hobs! Exclamation. Are you hurt? Question mark. Super NES became, I heard you were ambushed on Mount Hobs! Exclamation. Are you okay, sir? Question. I really like that. This O in front of Kega. Kega is just injury. O Kega. I'm putting the O in there adds an honorific. Oh my gosh, this O. Get by yourself. Honorable, yeah, okay. On my dictionary here it says honorable. You put O in front of a lot of words in Japan to make it honorable feeling. So that O was conveyed through the use of sir in Super NES. So they actually like reinflated for the Super NES. I'm impressed. I'm gonna give Super NES a point. J2E. I heard you were ambushed on top of Mount Hobs. Are you alright? The use of alright like this, I like that. It's okay. Used to be something else. Let's see. I hear you were hit by a surprise attack at Mount Hobs. Are you alright? Yeah, literally, it's like you received a surprise attack. Kishu is a surprise attack. And then you received it. You uketa did it. Alright. Are you alright? Naming way. I heard you were ambushed at Mount Hobs. Are you okay, sir? Is that the same line? Oh, they changed on to at. But that's the only change. That's all fine. Oops. Yeah, if you hear like them use the word honorable a lot in those old movies and things like that, it's probably coming from an O. Sometimes it's not just O, it's a go. Japanese is weird that way. Alright, the second monk says the same thing, so we'll skip that. I could mark off more, but whatever. Right, so there is a third monk, and it's in bed, or he's in bed. This looks like he's sleeping, but he's not. So he says, "Nette masen yo, meiso chu desu," and that's saying, "I'm not sleeping. I'm in the middle of meditating!" Exclamation. And that becomes, "Oh, I'm not sleeping. I am contemplating." In Super NES, contemplating is weird word to use instead of meditating. Meiso is meditation, contemplation. So they probably looked up Meiso in a dictionary, the old dictionary that must have been a print dictionary back in '91, and just saw contemplate and went with that. Okay, so I'm gonna take off a point for contemplating. J2E says, "Oh, I'm not asleep, I'm meditating." Would meditating clear Nintendo's guidelines? I think it would have been just fine. Meditating, you know, like martial arts masters doing meditation, that's the thing that they do. That's pretty good. Alright. Naming Way says, "I'm meditating," and then just says that. He's not... Sort of, there's like a little bit of humor here. Like, almost like Earthbound style humor, where it's commenting on the situation that is unfolding in the game right now. This sprite just happens to be sitting on top of a bed, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm not asleep. I'm meditating, actually." So the fact that it's kind of commenting on "I'm not sleeping" is the part of the very weak joke that's happening, but it's missing from Naming Way, so I'm gonna take that out. Alright, so we talked to those. We're going upstairs. This part is where there's gonna be a weird thing. Before I do the dancer, I'll pause it. Okay, there's a little boy. Okay, so now we're on the second floor, the east tower, or the right tower. And there's a pub here, but there's a little boy running around in this pub for some reason. Okay, so he's energetic, and this little boy shouts, "Yan-sama, hayaku warui yatsura o tokui no keri de buchi no meshichatte yo." And it's saying, "Master Yang, hurry up and kick the crap out of those," or like beat up, yeah, like beat the crap out of those bad guys with your special kick. And it's all filled with, like, you know, a little bit of Japanese text flavor that kind of misses it, kind of like childish feeling. Alright, so there's politeness is involved because he puts the sama involved, and he puts the sama at the end of yan there. You can see how it's conveyed in Super NES by the use of "sir." It says, "Beat them up, sir," but that's all. Like, he's not referring to Yang necessarily. He could be talking to Cecil, who's I'm facing right now. So that's a detail missing. Also, the fact that it's from his kick is, like, I guess his special move that's well known in this kingdom, and that detail, that's like a teeny bit of world building. Tokui no keri is your special technique skill of kicking is missing, so I'm gonna take off a point on Super NES. Alright. J2E becomes, "Master Yang, your feet should be registered as deadly weapons." No. That's a punch up. Okay. This used to be in J2E, "Master Yang, use your kick to demolish the enemy." So this is how it is in Japanese. So it used to be consistent with the Japanese text, then got punched up working designs style a little bit. Your feet should be registered as deadly weapons. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna take a point off, but I could actually go either way with that one. Yeah. If we're just looking at translations, then we'll do that. Then the Naming Way, this became "Beat them up, Sir Yang." So he's referencing Yang, and that's good. It's not ambiguous all of a sudden. And the politeness is involved. I would have liked the details about his special kick. So I'm gonna do that. Alright. Now there's an item in here. It is the Bacchus no Sake. Bacchus no Sake. And that's like Bacchus's wine. I don't know how to say that even in English. Bacchus. If you've played enough games or seen enough fantasy stuff, you probably know that Bacchus is like the god of wine or something like that. Some kind of like heavily alcohol related figure in just various mythologies and things. So Bacchus's wine. Oh yeah, I can't look at that yet. Anyway, this item became dummied out in Super NES and probably Easy Type. It became Bacchus wine in J2E and is Bacchus in naming way. We'll look at it in a second. Look at it right now. Okay, let me move that out of here. Bacchus wine. Okay. So, Easy Type, that got dummied out. Alright, J2E. Oh, I gotta close that door or window. Okay, Bacchus wine. User becomes berserk was the text that was added, the description that was added. User becomes berserk. Naming way, Bacchus wine makes user berserk. Right. It looks like they might have called this the item instead of Bacchus, they called it berserk. Berserk at first. I wonder what that was about. Alright, any more? Nope, okay. Now we're gonna talk to like the pub bartender guy. Yan-sama, Shugyo Kara Okairi de. They're saying, Master Yang, have you returned from your training? Are you on your way home from your training kind of idea? Super NES, are you back from your training, Yang? I would have liked a master in there, that would have been nice. And Okairi, this O in here again is an honorific. So he's being pretty polite, but it's kind of missing in the Super NES, but I'll just leave that. J2E, are you back from your training, Master Yang? That's pretty good. It looks like in J2E they added the word your in there. That's okay. Naming way, are you back from your training, Sir Yang? So it looks like they added the word sir, but took it otherwise from the SNES translation. That's interesting. Alright, so that as I look at this, these two translations have the politeness where the Super NES doesn't. I'm gonna for this weird instance, I'm gonna take off a point on the Super NES. Alright, so this next thing that we're gonna do, I'm not gonna talk to them just yet. But I'm gonna take a break, just a real quick break. Close these windows and take a bathroom break. So I'll be back in like 4 minutes. In the meantime, what can we do? I can't do what I did before, huh? Alright, so let's see if we can... I can't do anything fun with this. Alright, tell me how many times that little guy, the little boy, stands in that on that middle stool. That is your task while I'm gone. Let me put up a thing. I'll put up a thing. Alright, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. Did he? Looks like he made it one time in there. Is that true? Hopefully. He needs to get back in there. Yay, 2. Alright. I need to make this bigger. Alright, so I've been wondering how to bring up this topic that's about to happen. Okay, so in Final Fantasy V, like a bunch of the towns that you go to, they have all have like pianos, and if you go to the pianos, it'll play a little tune. And I don't know if anything ever comes from those. Oh, you can merge. Oh, okay, I'm gonna try that. That's gonna be weird. Oh, 8 times? Whoa. Okay. So in Final Fantasy V, there's the pianos, and you can go to the pianos and kind of like, I don't know if collecting the tunes does anything, but they're kind of just like little fun little things. Play the piano, get the little tune. Maybe there's like a little fun message or a little dance or something. Final Fantasy IV has something like that too, except it's with dancers. Dancer girls. Like there's only like one dancer girl sprite really. And so like there's one in Baron, there's the one in Kaipo, and there's one here. But like it's a playful element. And so like when you go to the town that's full of like pigs and frogs and creatures, the pigs and frogs and creatures are the things that dance. And then in this case, because we're in like this like martial arts place, the little funny goofy thing they're doing here is, it looks like there's a dancer girl here, but we're gonna find out that it was actually just like a monk in disguise. And then at the realization of this, Cecil is gonna go ugh or something like that, like this, like he's grossed out or something. And this is sort of that sort of humor that does not work well and it doesn't age well with time. Also, it depends on how it was intended, but how it comes off is also like its own concern. So I don't really know how to deal with these kinds of weird old issues. Whenever like gender issues come up in translations, I always try to take them very carefully, and I try not to upset people. Like, you know, I care about people's pronouns. I'll call you whatever you want, just like I would call you a nickname. But I just hope people won't, like, when I start to explain things like this, that they won't take things the wrong way if I just mess up my words or something. So, like, I don't really know what to call this character because I don't really understand this character. But so I'm just gonna call them them. Right, so we're going to talk to this dancer girl who's facing away from us right now. And as we've seen, most of the castle is just filled with like warrior monk guys. Alright, so we're talking to the lady from behind, and now she is saying, Watashi no odori mitai. Do you want to see my dance? This became a Super NES. Want to see me dance? J2E, do you want to watch me dance? And then name anyway, want to see me dance? J2E changed, let's see what it was. Just a format. Not cool. Oh, you want to watch this part? It's weird. Well, tell me, I want to know what you say about this part.
Okay.
I just finished explaining it, but basically there's dancers in every town. Some of them have gimmicks, like in the pig town, there'll be pigs dancing.
Yeah.
We're in like a warrior town right now, but there's a dancer girl here. Since you don't know what's going to happen, I want to see how you respond.
Okay.
All right. So, do you want to see my dance? Then you can say yes or no. Let's say no first. Hidoi hito karakao nante. So you're a terrible person, like teasing me like that or something. And that became, did you make fun of me in Super NES? She calls us hidoi hito, which gives me like a feminine vibe a little bit, but I don't see that in Super NES, but okay. J2E, you're awful, making fun of me like that. Karakao is like ridicule, tease, mock, you know, there's a bunch of things, poke fun at. What was that before? This formatting? Name anyway, poking fun at me, you're so mean. So it's like not really clear what's happening, right? It's kind of weird, but when we actually do it, we'll see. When I say yes, it makes sense. So we gotta pay attention, and I'm gonna have to pause it a bunch. Here we go. All right. Now Cecil So the dancer turned around, and it turns out that the dancer is actually just like one of the like warrior monk guys, and wasn't feminine after all. So Cecil just goes "ge" in Japanese, which gives a suggestion of like "ugh" or like "ak" or just like a sense of disgust, maybe just slight "ge," like he's taken aback, but there's a bit of a negativeness to it. I don't know. I'm probably wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. Anyway, Super NES just goes "wah." J2E says "ak." Naming Way says "ag."
Aghanim.
The Super NES is interesting because it's not clear who's saying the "wah." It looks like it. I think I understood it to be the monk and not Cecil. That little detail isn't going to be important here. I'm taking a point off on Super NES. So the "ak" and "ag" are in there. Naming Way, I'm going to do it the same. Although it's clear because a monk wouldn't just go "ag" all of a sudden, but "wah" is unclear, as you'll see in a second. Okay. Yeah, I think this character is just doing drag, but all the stuff is just so complicated in Japanese entertainment. All right, so now the monks are just dancing around like crazy, hopping around the table, going all over the place, spinning, and then now the monk goes, and as we said before, it's like the martial arts sound. So he's probably doing a martial arts attack or move or something while he's standing on the bar. Is that do we just call it the bar? The bar table?
The bar.
Bars. What do we call that in English? Okay. And that became Achu, yes, and Haya. In J2E, it became yes. That's not correct. That's a mistake. Again, he's just doing martial arts. All right. And jumping around, doing martial arts, I guess. So the dance was probably just martial arts all along. And then we had it happen again. I won't take points off on that one. And then it ended. Another hop at the end. Then the dancer just looks away again. Oh, apparently if I do this, I can actually walk and share the overlap the
I
dance.
thought the dancer transformed.
Yeah.
When she turned around.
Right. So let's try it again. You hold up. Apparently if you hold up, something happens. Sneezing is actually just the acho, like karate martial arts sound. Why isn't this working? That's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to make it happen. Someone pointed out that maybe I can make a glitch happen here, but I don't see how it's possible. Yeah, I don't know how to make that happen. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you are just tuning in, we're like 2.5 hours into the stream, but we talked about all the Achu stuff and all the Yang stuff and all the monk stuff. We already talked about that early in the stream, so you can just hop back in real time probably and check it out. We go into a detail and I have like sound clips and slides and things to show. Alright, so we have a tent. We're now in the king's room on the top floor. And we just took a tent out of his...
Was the king preparing to go camping?
Yeah, we just got a tent from his room. Okay, so there's an old lady in this room, in this like bedroom. However, there's no one else. The bed is empty. We're gonna talk to the old lady now. Koko wa heika no shinshitsuja. An older style speech pattern saying this is His Majesty's bedroom or sleep chamber or something like that. Shinshitsu can go bedroom, but yeah. Right, we have it's our king's bedroom, with king is weirdly capitalized, and it's, I would have said this is, because Koko it became it's is weird. No big deal, I'll just leave it. This is His Majesty's bedroom in J2E. And then these are the king's quarters, period, in naming way. There was something of interest I wanted to say. But, okay, so I think this is okay with her. But this line, so you can actually go for a very short period of the game, you can actually step into the king's bed, and it'll let you sleep, and you'll get healed up. And there's even a message. So here we go. Alright, so Cecil is saying this. O sama no bedo de nachao to. And it's a very tonally weird phrase. It almost feels like a kid saying it, like, let's sleep in the king's bed, or like, time to sleep in the king's bed. It just feels very tonally weird for Cecil to be saying this, and so this is one of those lines that Japanese fans like to poke fun at. It's another one of those kind of famous lines.
Like suddenly this Dark Knight sounds like a kid.
Like he's wearing like dark armor and stuff, and like, I don't know, it's just a very childish, fun heart to it. Let's sleep in the king's bed, and Super NES. Yeah, J2E says, I guess I'll take a nap in the king's bed. Let's rest in the king's bed. It's not clear that Cecil is speaking here. I would have liked that. This little mark here denotes Cecil specifically. I would have liked that. Because like if you switch your character, it would still say Cecil saying it. Okay, so Cecil... Okay, Super NES gets it, and then naming way, right? Okay. Yeah, King would probably have a big bed, right? Big enough for 5 people. With all. Alright. That was the same line, right? I'm just gonna...
I think it...
Okay, I just want to double check. That's like, yes, let's go line.
That seemed kind of like childish way.
Yeah, this also is very like, has a weird tone to it. This is another one that's kind of joked about among Japanese fans. All the terrible things and like, all right, let's a go feeling. All right, so we've kind of gone everywhere here. Now we have to go to the throne room. However, the throne room is going to be big talking. But if we don't do it now, we're not going to finish Fabul if we do all of it tomorrow. That's because we have to do Fabul, we have to do the battle that happens. We have to do like the throne room, the crystal room stuff. Then we have to do Rydia heals everyone, then everyone goes to the inn, and then everyone goes to the pier, and then the Leviathan scene. So there's like so much, like we're about to hit a wall. So I like to peck away at that wall just a teeny bit, but that means that we're going to have to do a save state rather than a standard save today. So let me first super save state this. I'm glad you got to see that pool. It was neat to see your reaction. Right. Well, yeah. Nah. I was gonna show off the Acho sounds again. What?
I'll watch it.
Before we step forward, if we take one step forward into the throne room, everything will start. But I want to point out in the PlayStation 1 translation, which we're not looking at here, famously just changes and inserts stuff. And one of them is if you don't choose yes, it's one of those situations in these old games where you have to choose yes to continue. If you choose no, the game will usually just like repeat itself until you finally say yes. But in the PS1 translation, the text suddenly says, FF director steps in and says, cut, that's not what it's supposed to be. Everyone go back to your posts or something. Let's redo it. Exactly like the Final Fantasy director.
That's kind of fun though.
It's fun. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not the original.
It's not.
So these, especially with like all the working design stuff, and then like the changes that we saw in the PlayStation 1 translation, it was like the original translations were just there for suggestions. Remember I was telling you the other day about like dub editors, especially if they're new, will kind of just like unwittingly wipe out a bunch of the carefully prepared decorations in the translations.
Yeah,
and then they'll just like wash a birthday cake. That's kind of how it felt back in the day in the 90s. Like these RPG scripts, they're not good enough for kids. We gotta pump these up. We gotta make them fun. We gotta make it lively. And that's another example of the PS1. So there was like that whole era of caring less about the source material and more just about goofing. Alright, so now we're in the King's room. King's throne room. We have a lot of text. Let me get some more. Give me that whatever. Thanks.
You got Wonder.
Wonder? Okay. Alright. I don't know how long this is gonna be. It's gonna take a while. All right, so I've already mentioned that unlike in the DS translations and stuff, it feels like everyone talks in old-timey fantasy style. But in actuality, like every character has their own speaking style, so it's natural that kings and like knights and stuff will speak in like as you would expect a king or a knight, the fantasy style. So these like this king, like a lot of this discussion will have a little bit of that vibe as formalities between everyone. Like we're having an international meeting all of a sudden. Like we have people from all over the world now meeting the King Baron, so everyone's going to make their introductions and formalities. Alright, so King of Fabul, Fabul says, Yan yo modotta ka. Yang, you've returned. Alright, Super NES, that became Yang ... Okay, that's weird. Mark off on Super NES there. J2E, Yang, you're back. The look on your face ... That's not proper. So that second sentence is completely added by J2E. So I'm going to take up a point on there. Naming way. Yang, you returned. Okay, that's good. So naming way is good there. Yang now says ha. And again, that's like if you're in the army or something like that, that's how you might say yes sir, or like sir, yes sir. You'll just say like ha. It looks like that became just king in Super NES, so I'll say that's all right. So he's not reporting in for duty or responding. All right, I'll just let this slide and say that King Fabul is replacing the ha instead of yes sir. Okay, then that became yes your majesty in naming way. That's actually I really like that one out of the most. So. Now Yang continues. Sore yorimo Fabul, more importantly than that, King Fabul, period. Alright, so he's trying to change the situation, like move the discussion. He's taking control of the discussion. This is what's happening here. But I don't see that in Super NES. And also that sentence is just missing. So I took off a point there. I'm going to take off on J2E just because I don't see that sentence in there. I'll take it back because I see how it would work in there. Because I took one off for ha or whatever or something already. Right, this became yes, your majesty. Okay, I like how it was all kind of condensed. He's not taking control. He's not turning the discussion, but it's in there, and I like that. All right. We're going to break the window with this line, so let me see what we're about to say. Gorubeza, okay, he's continuing. Gorubeza naru mono ga baro no ugokashi, kristaru o ubai ni kimasu. So one named, so he's speaking kind of fancy. One named Golbeza is manipulating or controlling Baron and is coming to take the crystal. Like by force feeling, like steal the crystal. Exclamation. Alright, so this became in Super NES, the Baronian Kingdom mobilized his force to get our Crystal of Air. The one called Golbez is behind this attempt. So like a single sentence became two. And that's pretty common. It's important to note, and the text in this game hasn't been complicated enough yet, but sometimes it makes a lot more sense for one long line in one language to be broken up into two logically flowing lines in another language. Or the other way around. Sometimes you can take two and merge them into one, but only if you know what you're doing, really. Here we see it sort of happening. But the phrasing is so weird in the Super NES. It even adds the part about air that's not in there, just saying crystal in Japanese. Alright, so cool. One named Golbez, controlled Baron, is controlling Baron. Mobilize his force is weird, but okay. One going, okay, so I feel like the vibe I'm getting is this got some editing maybe from a secondary editor later on, maybe with a maybe native speaker of English. I'm not sure. Didn't fix that part. Okay. I will. So he's saying like Golbez is coming. Like he's saying Golbez he's suggesting that like Golbez is doing all this, not the Baronian kingdom. Like, and then in the Dubai Nikimas, there's like a very just strong, clear understanding that he is coming. There, something is coming. Either Baron or the Golbez, or probably both, but something's coming like right now. That sense of urgency is a little missing from the phrasing, but that's when I'm okay. J2E. King Fabul, the man known as Golbez, is mobilizing the forces of Baron to take our crystal. Okay, so there's mobilizing has the progressive, present progressive. I would have liked, like, he's on his way feeling. Like, this could, mobilizing feels like it could be, I don't know, it could be a week, could be a month, till they show up, till they get ready to show up. But no, they're coming right now. Right. Nothing too crazy with the J2E old version there. Okay, naming way. A man named Golbez is coming for the wind crystal with all the might of Baron behind him. I really like this first part. The second part is a little weird, but I see what it's going for. I actually really like the fact that it has the word coming for in there. So naming way is going to get a point.
Did the D disappear?
Is that, yeah, what's this, Behindo? I can I do copy Control C? I'm going to paste it in the chat. We're going to see what this is. Here's what that letter is.
Oh.
Okay, I guess it just looks weird on here right now. So it was a D. Looked like behind became Behindo. I'm doing the late night thing, that later thing where I go to the Behindo. It's not, it says behind him. Alright, I'm just going to move forward. Okay, so King of Fabul responds Makoto ka, and that's like a fancy way of saying truly. Yeah, truly. It became in Super NES. It just became what? Can this be so in J2E? Okay, so his like shock of like what truly is missing in naming way here. You laughing at something?
Well, I thought of a really working designs way of the king.
Yeah. Saying truly? Yeah, what is it?
Bitch, are you for real?
Patch with that tone someday. Alright, we're now nearing the end of this section. Alright. Okay, so the king says, Makoto ka truly? Then Yang responds, Kono kata tachi wa sore o shiratse ni kite kureta no desu. So he's being polite to us by calling us kata. Kata is like more polite than hito. You could have just said person. Hito is person. Kata is like, you might say gentleman or gentle person. Kata is a really good word to know. Yeah, you can see person, lady, gentleman, honorable suffix. So kata tachi. So Yang is being very polite about all these people that he's introducing, while at the same time like being polite to the king, of course. That's the thing in Japanese. You have to worry about who you're speaking to and who you're talking about at the same time. And the grammar you use, the politeness grammar levels, they'll change depending on things. It's not as bad as it sounds. Alright, so these people is a pretty rude phrase in English, but these kind of people have come to inform us of that, have come to tell us of that. Very, very, just very nice. Yang's a very good speaking guy. I like his speech style. These people here came to let us know. Okay, that's what it is in Super NES, that's fine. Yang says in J2E, these people came to let us know. And then that became, these people came to warn us. Yeah, came to warn us is pretty good too. But again, that kata tachi and all that stuff just kind of gets lost in translation. I wish it would have been reinflated or something. Right. And then King now says, Sono ho tachi wa nani mono ja? So who are those people? Otachi is interesting. Who are those ones? Who might those ones be? Who might these ones be? Right, in Super NES, that becomes who ... are these people. Also, the king's using ja instead of da. That's a good way of just conveying older speech style, or maybe a dialect sometimes. That became who are they in J2E? Who are they? Probably how that would come out. Naming way, and they are. Okay, these are all okay. Well, who are these people? Okay, so Cecil now steps forward and introduces himself. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have time to introduce himself. He instead says in Japanese, "Shikan ga arimasen. Hayaku mamori o katamenai to." That means there is no time. We must hurry and harden the defenses. Literally. Maybe you could say like reinforce the defenses, or just like tighten our defenses. There's no time. We must hurry and tighten the defenses. Is how that goes. There's an exclamation at the end. Super NES says, we have no time to waste. The defense of the castle must be tightened immediately. So there's some weirdness in English here. We have defense with the C, which suggests maybe like British English, or maybe a lot of times, especially back in the day, English would be this like Australian or British English is heavily taught in like Hong Kong and China and all those places. So there might be something related to that, I'm not sure. But because of the weird like grammar, I don't know. I think this line shows up on the back of the box for Super NES also, but there might be a change. There might be a text change. I don't remember. But this defense was always weird to me as a kid. I noticed it back then. Right. J2E. There's not much time. We must fortify the castle. Okay, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Well, it looks like there's some changes that we'll have to look at in the J2E in a bit. Well, let me do this. Okay, naming way, Your Majesty, we haven't much time. Okay, I like that phrasing. We haven't much time. The castle's defenses must be tightened at once. Okay, all of that is really good. Wow, I'm naming way. I'm just happy for naming way. So I can give you the point. It's still tied with Super NES now. Alright. So the King of Fabul, because he's faced with a Dark Knight. Dark Knights are now known for its destruction and death now, and its raids. It says, Shikashi sono sugata wa baro no ankoku kishi. However, your form is that of a Baron Dark Knight. Like you are dressed like that of a Dark Knight. You look like a Dark Knight of Baron. So he knows that like this doesn't make much sense. Okay, there's going to be a second line that the king says, so I'll just say that here. Shinjite yoi mono kadoka ... I don't know whether I can trust you or not. I don't know if you can be trusted or not. ... So that became in Super NES, but you're Dark Knight of Baron. Can I really trust you? That's basically what it's saying and getting to. There's some formatting changes, but that's okay. King of Fabul in J2E says, wait a minute, you're a Dark Knight from Baron. Can I trust you? So Shikashi became, wait a minute. It doesn't feel becoming of a like this older king to be saying something like that. Wait a minute. But I won't make more enough. Can I trust you? That says. Naming way, Your Majesty, we haven't much time. The castle's defenses must be tightened at once. King says, but you're one of Baron's Dark Knights. Why should I trust you? He's saying more like, can I trust you? Like he's not even saying can. I don't know if it would be wise to trust you or not. He's not really asking directly to Cecil, like, respond to this query. Respond to this argument I give you. But whatever. Alright. Okay, so we can see that the second part up here. Alright. So at this point, Yang steps in to speak up for Cecil. And then in Japanese it says, Oh yo, King. He's getting a little direct here. Shinnai dekiru kata tachi desu. So they are people, again, is kata, so it's stronger than hito, so it's more than just person. These are like good people that are reliable. They can be trusted. Shinnai dekiru. Shinnai, they can be relied on, they can be trusted. Kata tachi desu. So he's being polite, all forceful at the same time. That becomes, in Super NES, king. They are trustworthy. J2E says, Your Highness. That next part about they are kind people who can be trusted is missing from J2E. I'm gonna take that out. That might have been in here. And it used to be in here in the old patch. You can trust these people. So he's making his first statement, like you can trust them, and then he's about to say like share his reasoning, but we won't do that yet. And also, Oyo Shinai dekiru kata tachi desu. Both of those lines are missing in naming way, so I'll mark off 2 on there. All right. Next line is gonna go across the window, so let's see. Shinai. Okay, watashi ga osowarete ita tokoro o tasukedachi shite. So they aided me in battle when I was being attacked. When I was personally being attacked. They came to my defense when I was attacked. Period. And this became in J2E. They saved me from Golbez's minions on the mountain. Exclamation. There's nothing about Golbez on here, or minions. I'm gonna mark off J2E here. That's like a story thing that was added. Was that even in there originally? Also, on the mountain wasn't on there, but... And the tone is wrong, so just a lot is wrong there, so I took off 1 point in total. Naming way. They came to my aid when I was attacked. Exclamation. Okay, I'll go with it. And then there's gonna be 2 more lines. Alright. Cecil now says, Ikkoku o arasoimasu! Exclamation. And that means like, we're in a battle against time, or like time is of the essence, or whatever. There's like really nice phrases we have in English for that, and none's coming off the top of my head, but like, time is of the essence feeling, like there's no time to waste kind of thing. Yeah, Super NES. Not a moment is to be lost. Like it's a race against time feeling. Time is of the essence, he says. We must prepare for battle in J2E. We must prepare for battle is not in the original. It was always there on J2E though. Right. That line by Cecil is missing from Naming Way, so Naming Way is going to lose a point. Now Rosa finishes this block of text by saying, Isoide kudasai, please hurry. And in Super NES that became, there is no time. Rosa says in J2E, please hurry. Then Naming Way, please trust us. ... The tone on that is weird. And it's not about trusting us, it's about we gotta hurry. So I'm gonna take off 1 on Naming Way. Alright, Edward steps forward. Looks like we have some more text ahead of us. Hopefully we can get through this pretty soon. Like I wanna stop in about 20 minutes, 10 minutes. If we don't make it, then we'll just stop in the middle of this. Alright, so Gilbert has stepped forward. O hisashiburi desu, Fabul King. So it has been a long time, King Fabul. Super NES, I'm glad to see you again, sir. Weird thing for a prince to say sir to a king, right? I don't know. What does the rule book of international relations say on such a thing? I'll just be okay, but I don't see... Okay, Hisashiburi desu says, I'm glad to see you again, that's fine. Alright, I'll just stick with that. It's been quite a while, King Fabul, says in J2E. That's fine. It's good to see you again, Your Highness. So naming way gets how I would have liked it here. Alright, so Fabul, King of Fabul now says, Kore wa giru wa to oji. And that's kind of like, oh my, or why if it isn't Prince Gilbert. Kind of like he's surprised by Gilbert's presence, Edward's presence at the moment. Like, his presence is going to change the course of this discussion. And this became, in the Super NES, this became, oh, Prince Edward. Okay, that gets to it. Prince Gilbert is what he says in J2E. I would have liked something before that, like just a simple phrase like oh, or like oh my, or something like that. I don't know. Nothing bad about it though. Oh, Prince Edward, yeah, that's what naming way. Okay, that's good. The next sentence is going to break the window again. You can kind of tell when the writing is all crammed together, this is going to happen a lot. When you get this all lined up, it's kind of nice to be able to do this. Oh, my stomach's about to rumble. Oh no. Okay, oh. So it looks like Naming Way also said, oh Prince Edward, how fares Damsian, and that's not in the original, so I'm gonna take off the point of Naming Way. Alright. Right? I don't think. Okay. So, Gilbert now says in Japanese, Damsian no osoware. Crystal o ubawarete no desu. So, Damsian 2 was attacked and had its crystal stolen. That became in Super NES. Damsian 2 has suffered from the attack and had the crystal taken away. That's really good. Okay, G2E. Damsian has already been attacked and our crystal stolen. Already isn't. Yeah, okay, so already is filling in for that mo. That's fine. Naming Way, it changes this text a lot because it was changing. Edward now says, it has fallen. The fire crystal is ours no more. So, it's kind of weird. I'm going to take a point off of Naming Way. I'm getting kind of tired, so I'm not going to explain that too much, but I hope that makes sense. Alright, next section. So, Edward is still talking about what happened to Damsian. About this. Okay. Alright. So Edward continues. Chichi mo haha mo ... Koibito mo ushinaimashita ... exclamation. So that's saying my father and my mother, my mother and my father ... Okay. If we put all this into one sentence, I lost my father, my mother, and even my lover. But, you know, there's like the extra punctuation flavor in there. So, he's listing 3 people that died on top of losing the crystal. In Super NES, this became, I lost my parents and my beloved friend. So, koibito became beloved friend. That's a weird phrase. What's maybe koibito? Lover or sweetheart? Like, I don't like to use the phrase, but beloved friend almost feels like it could be putting him into the friend zone. But I'll stick with that. I mean, it's clear what kind of what being said. J2E. I lost ... Everyone dear to me ... Everything that mattered ... So, all of this is kind of made up. And the father and mother thing is pretty important. Like, we wouldn't have thought about that unless it had been mentioned, probably, that he cares about his parents who were the royal family. So I'll take off a point on that. There we go. Oh, wait. I don't know what I just did. Did I mess things up even worse? I was adjusting things because I was getting confused naming with J2E. It looks like I'm running out of brain power, brain juice. I'm going to have to end soon, but let's get through this at least. What happened here? Did it used to be anything? No. So the whole point about the mom, like specific people that died, just all kind of got rewrote out of the J2E script. Naming way. Yeah, my beloved would have been a lot stronger than just my beloved friend. Okay, naming way became I lost my mother, my father, even my beloved Anna. So Anna gets named specifically. That wasn't necessary. Okay. Here's an interesting thing that happens in languages is like mother and father. In English, or at least American English, we like to say that in that order, right? Mother and father. Like if you say father and mother, somehow it just rolls off the tongue just a little bit different, maybe. Just a little bit less smooth, I don't know. And then other languages, it might have one order feels more natural than the other. It's one of those things that I think is just a cultural language thing. Usually it won't matter unless timing is heavily involved. I don't think it matters here. Alright, so there's more to this line. このファブルをダムシアンの二の前にされるつもりですか? Just assume there's more anger, intent in that. I don't know. I'm bad at acting and I'm getting tired. So he's saying, are you intending to make this a repeat? Are you intending to make Fabul a repeat of what happened at Damsian? It's a very strong question to ask. He's very polite with it too, like Saderu instead of Suru, Otsumori, Deska. So he's being polite, but also very strong with his words. It's an interesting juxtaposition, maybe. Polite, but strong-worded. Alright. Would you let the same thing happen to Fabul that became? I really like that phrasing. Okay, we'll just stick with that. So it's kind of like a rhetorical question. I don't know if rhetorical is the proper term to use here, but it's meant to show him the error of his logic of doing nothing. Do you intend to let this happen? Yeah, okay, Sareru. I guess that could go either way. It could go Suru or Sareru. It's kind of interesting. Right. So in J2E it just says, don't let Fabul suffer the same fate, period. The question, the powerful question, you don't normally want to loudly question a king, right? We're having this prince is doing it. Instead, he's giving him a direct order in J2E, so I don't know. But J2E misses that nuance, and I would have liked that. Naming way. Would you let Fabul suffer the same fate? And yeah, that's the same. That's good. Damsian would be nice to have in there. That's okay though. Alright. So King Fabul now is going to apologize for his doubting everything. So Edward has saved the day. If he hadn't been here, Fabul would be destroyed even worse than what happens maybe. Alright, so Fabul King says Sumanu. So that's saying sumimasen, but in old style. Archaic style and also old guy style maybe, wise old guy style. Sumanu. Makoto jataka. I apologize, so it's the truth after all. That's sort of how that feels. That became I'm sorry for the misunderstanding in Super NES. I'm sorry, so does the truth in J2E. That one's closer. Naming way, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. It looks like that comes straight from the Super NES. So J2E kind of comes on top there. Right. Daga shuryoku no mokutai mo nashi ni. And this is an incomplete sentence. But without our main monk warrior force, ... That's missing from Super NES. I'll take a point off on there. So the main force is missing basically. The missingness of it is what is important here. And I don't feel that J2E's but our monks are still in training ... is the same. And that line is missing in the naming way entirely. And then finally the king says, Sonataru mo shikara o kashite wa kurenu ka. So would you people be kind enough to lend us your power as well? Again, in an older guy style. Will you help us defend the crystal? he says in Super NES. Like, will you lend us your help? Will you lend us your power, literally? Okay. What if, so there's a pluralness here in the Japanese, and it becomes singular you in Super NES, but I don't mind. Defend the crystal isn't technically what's happening. I won't pick on that. Will you assist us? It became in J2E. And the old styleness is missing. I wish it was in there. Will you help us defend the crystal in naming way? And that seems to pull from the Super NES again. Oh, here it is. Okay. At this point, if I say yes, the story will begin. If I say no, oh wait, but it's a negative question. Oh crap. It's a negative question. I don't know how this is going to play out. So let's say no, we won't. Will you not? So he's basically saying, will you not help us? And if we say yes, we will not help you, or no, we will not help you. What are we saying? Or yes, we will help you, or no, we will not help you. These are the things that are possible. Which one is it? If we choose. Okay. So the King of Fabul, we rejected the offer. So the King of Fabul now says, Muriji wa dekinshi na komatta no. And that means I can't force you to. I can't force you into it. After all, what a problem this is. How problematic this is. So this becomes I see. We can't force you. In Super NES. He's komatta no is a little bit of a kind of means like, oh, this is a trouble. I'm troubled now feeling. So after he's saying like, I won't force you, and now he's like, what am I gonna do now? Is the feeling like, what am I gonna do now? I don't see that in any of these. But okay, so it's not in J2E for sure. The IC ... can potentially cover the komatta no if we wanted it to. IC, we won't force you. Okay, so J2E misses out on that. What happens next? Okay. Now we're kicked out of the room. This is where the FF director, Final Fantasy director, would have kicked us out of the room if this was the PlayStation 1 version. Right. So we just said no, we're not gonna help. The story won't progress unless we say yes. So we'll say yes tomorrow. For now, I'm so tired now. I've been doing this for 3.5 hours. But tomorrow is going to be a really, really long day. But it's also a really exciting scene. A bunch of exciting scenes. So I hope you'll come join. Again, if you've missed a bunch of this, I put these on YouTube immediately after. So don't worry. And you can also just jump back in real time on Twitch. So for now, we're going to end, and then I'm gonna go eat, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Let me know if there's any questions, like on the YouTube, let me know. And if you have any questions, just type in BBQ into the chat now with your question, and I'll pick it up tomorrow, and I'll discuss it during the intro. So that's it. See you guys tomorrow. Farewell. I forget what word that you need to learn today. So monku is a monk.